This conference will now be recorded.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Any public comments come in?
No.
Okay. Close public comments. On to administrative business.
Okay.
Deidre said she'd give us updates if there was anything new. So we won't be doing the COVID updates. Because everybody remembers.
I'm just turning you up a little bit, Joe.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. All right. You had a lot of information items in your packet. So you had the senior citizens information, some budget reports. I put a legislative update in there for you. I don't know if you guys get those on your own. We have the department revenue reports there. I did put in our valuation information. Our county value went down just a little bit. So that's where we'll be starting for our budget prep. Oops. You can see that it's 139,998.14, and then in November it was 140,335,481. What's that?
Said it ain't me this time.
Okay. There was a notification in there in your packet from the Corps of Engineers related to the reservoir.
Not real positive.
Yeah. Don't blame them, but I would have chosen some different words.
I did include in here from February 10th, the information on the motion that was made for the EMS lot. That's on page 78 of your packet. And then just a couple reminders. The tax sale is coming up on Wednesday at 10 o'clock at the Lake Hall. And then we have the all-day budget work session on Thursday this week, starting at 9 with Scott Lloyd, and that's when you'll hear the majority of the department budget requests and presentations. Does anybody have any questions about any of the information so far?
Will the department heads come down here 2% of the budget?
Generally, they do.
It's been odd years, I didn't know.
I haven't specifically talked to anyone to know if there's anyone that's going to try to present remotely or if everyone's planning to be here. So. Okay. I have the minutes of June 8th.
Everybody had a chance to read and review the minutes of June 8th. Is there any questions or concerns with them? If not, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 8th. Second by Kent. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
salary sheets.
All right, so we have a salary change for Joe Matsumeyer, registered deeds, from $27.51 a month to $27.77 a month. 6-month raise. We have a salary change for Matthew Revere, sheriff, from $17.19 an hour to $17.36 an hour. 6-month raise as deputy sheriff.
Just sign that, pass it to you.
Oh. Go the other way.
Yeah, sorry.
I guess I read that.
Go the other way.
Oh, okay.
Meet the middle, come back.
Guess I just
Probably all the time.
go on. Sheriff, vice sheriff. That's 15. Damn, a little respect there.
No respect.
In your packet, you had an invoice, and this is for Marion County Sheriff or the Executive Director of Community Corrections salary. And this was implemented a couple years ago to oversee community corrections. And they asked that you do a formal approval of the invoice, but we do have that money.
So Marion County Sheriff looks to be $1,604.40.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve Community Corrections Executive Director's salary for Marion Sheriff for the months of July 2019 through June 2020.
I'll
At
second.
a number of $1,604.40.
I'll still second it.
Second by Diane. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay. We have the lease purchase documents, and this is for the tractor and mower. And the county has already paid the bills for those, and so this is just for reimbursement. So I just need a motion and a vote to approve the agreement and to authorize the chairman to sign.
I'll make a motion to approve the lease purchase agreement and with chairman's signature.
I'll second it.
Motion by Carl, second by Dave. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
None opposed. Cafeteria plan. Next.
Okay, so every year, the county makes a motion and readopts our cafeteria plan for the year. This year, we changed companies. The plan document is in place from May 1st through April 30th of every year. And this year, we changed companies to a new company, and so we had to wait for them to have the documentation ready. And so that is all in your packet. It's a lot of information.
Yeah.
But I just need a motion and a vote to, we're actually amending and restating the cafeteria plan for Marion County.
That's with Assurance.
Yes.
Okay. I'll make a motion to amend and restate the cafeteria plan with Assurance.
Second.
Second by Dave. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay. And find the page. That'd be some.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and in your packet, you have the information on the workforce area 1, and they included explanation memo. This is something that we do regularly, and you have had the lady come in before and kind of explain, you know, what they do, but this is a regional program.
63 counties.
And they are just asking us to approve a new agreements.
Do we have to notice that there has to be a representative from every county? Is that, do we have that representative?
I think it's a regional, it's not every county that's on the board, am I correct?
On that, I didn't have a chance to check
Yeah,
to
at
see
one time it was
who was
like
on the board.
10 members or something like that. It wasn't every county.
We've never been too long, never.
I don't, not since I've been on the board, if we had a.
Well, it didn't look like it was a requirement, but it
Yeah.
was
I think you can
It's-
request to have membership on the board.
basically what I thought I seen was, 62 counties, and they go and elect the CEO board, basically, so it's a short term. But if we don't have to have anybody, I will just go ahead and make a motion to approve. I'm sorry. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Good contract.
Okay. And yes, in your packet, you did have a copy of the contract for SCED, for the grant administration, for the community development block grant. And this amount has already been approved, but we just need to have a motion and vote to approve the actual agreement.
Make a motion to approve the agreement with SCED for the CDBG funds.
I'll I'll make a motion to approve Skip as a grant administrator for community development block grant.
Okay.
You can second.
I'll retract my motion and let Ken have the
Oh,
motion. Yeah,
I
it's
didn't know
fine.
you stated it as a
It's
motion.
fine.
Excuse me.
It's fine. It's basically the same thing, so I'll let Ken make the motion.
Second.
Randy seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
And we have 2 of these contracts. We'll just have you sign both. And this does ask for all of the signatures. And related to the Community Development Block Grant Program, I do have some of the paperwork that was provided for us. And it is not in your packet, but these are the forms that the Department of Commerce sent to us, and we need to have signatures from the chairman on these. You already approved and signed a contract, but these are the supplemental forms.
Make a motion to approve the supplemental forms from the Department of Commerce.
I'll second
Second, any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Okay, so. So I'm gonna pass over several things for you to sign, John. They don't all have a sticky note on them. These 3
Make sure I don't
pictures.
sign the wrong place.
I'll try to make that one with the arrow there for you to be able to see.
They do have X's on them, so they make it
Yeah,
easier.
yeah. Somebody really takes care of me.
Okay.
Next. CDBG.
Yeah, Michelle had sent us some, kind of a cover letter,
Yeah.
and it starts on page 193 here. And she had a preliminary ranking type schedule in here, so I wanted you to be able to look at it and give feedback, and if you want something different, to let me know. And so initially you had made the motion to have the grant application period start on the 12th and go through July 2nd. And I think it would probably be a good idea to bump that back a week, because we haven't, since I didn't have your approval on this document, I didn't send anything out, so. Anyway, in here, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, she had put 5,000 for businesses 1 to 5 and 10,000 for businesses of 6 to 50, which would be the maximum amount that they could receive. It doesn't mean that they would receive the full amount. And then the guidelines, of course, we have the form from the Department of Commerce that has to be completed. And then she just kind of has, she's got some deadlines in here, and then some information on, you know, review and ranking of applications. So if you'll notice on the page that has the little box on it, it says if they have not received federal support, they would have 5 points. If they haven't received any other federal support, 1 point if federal support received from one source, and 0 if received from none, or more than one, excuse me. And then she did it with a ranking of how many low to moderate income, what percentage of their employees are low to moderate income. So if there's 51%, which is the minimum for them to qualify, then they would get 2 points. If you have your LMI average is 55 to 60%, she has 3 points, and 5 points for 61 and above. So I didn't know if you liked that ranking. And then she has the overall application quality. That's the discretionary part, where if you look at their summary and all their information, the type of business, and that's the area where there would be the discretion and as awarding points for.
I think that addresses most of the areas that we talked about, especially whether they've got PPE money, PPP money.
Yeah.
That's kind of like all the other government forms that have been coming out.
No, I reviewed it. I thought she pretty well detailed it to what we discussed, so.
It's just too bad it takes so long, because
Yeah.
these people need help last week.
We need a motion to go ahead and
Yeah.
allow, application, turn-in deadline to go to the.
July 9th at
July
5
9th.
o'clock, yes.
I will make that motion right now, make sure we make a motion to accept applications for the CDBG grant applications till July 9th. Amending the previous motion. Got a second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Okay. And so you are good with this, everybody's okay with the information?
I will make a motion to approve the formal layout by SCED with the cover letter and the application for the CDBG grant. Got a second by Kent. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Now, while we're on that, what is expected if somebody's interested in this, to come fill this out, and it goes directly to SCED, or
No, it'll come back here.
come back to this office? Okay. So if they're wanted, do they go online to get the application, or?
We will have it online. We will have it where they can pick it up.
Okay.
I can have some packets made up in case commissioners want to have some available, somebody requests it. I mean, we can do lots of things, so.
I've got one business asking for a Peabody that's been staying on top of it, but they've received one already, so they understand it.
Yeah, and this is all a new,
Yep.
this will be a new packet. Nobody has had the packet yet.
I'll just
So,
tell them, turn it in anyway.
So will we schedule a special meeting or something to review those?
I think we were gonna do it on the, what was it, the?
13th.
13th.
13?
So we're trying to make by the 9th, and then review it on the 13th.
And then be ready to, send out awards announce awards on the 20th and send out a list of.
If they applied for the cities, then they have to do it again for the county now.
Yes, what they filled out for the cities was just real basic information, and we didn't have the forms that Commerce was gonna require. And so it's a little bit more extensive application. But I do have the list now from all the cities that applied, of all the businesses that applied, and so I will make sure that they receive the new information, so that they know, and a lot of them have already contacted us anyways.
So if we've had a couple of businesses, I have a couple of businesses out in the county that had asked me, should I give you the information, mail that to them, or?
That would be great, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if you wanna make sure that they get an application, but we wanna make sure that everybody that has an interest is able to receive the
Right.
information, so.
When would you have some packets available for us to pick up?
Tomorrow. Since we have a meeting all day today, I don't know that I'll have it ready today, but I'll have them ready to go out in the morning.
Okay.
So,
Or will it be picked up if I want to pick up a couple?
Sure.
Okay.
Print the information here, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that application isn't gonna change, so I mean,
Right.
we can just snapshot this and print it.
Right. The cover letter, though, I'll probably put on the county letterhead and just,
Okay.
have it a little bit, look like it's actually coming from us. This
Okay.
is just the draft, so that's the part, that we'll need to adapt a little bit, so. Okay, and we will post the packets on our website as well. There is something else in administrative business that wasn't here when I sent the packets, and it's on the table under your agenda. We do have another pay estimate for the transfer station, which is pay estimate number 4. So you all have that at the bottom of your staff under the agenda there. And we would need a motion and a vote to approve that, and then I need the chairman's signature on it.
Anybody have any questions or concerns with the payment amount? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve Nelson Fowles, the amount of $168,957.36 for payment estimate. Which number is this? Number 4.
Second.
Got a second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Can you go ahead and sign that one and send that one down here, Jenna? I didn't print one off for myself. And I actually do need a short executive session for personnel. And if you want to do it now, that's fine, or we can do it at the end, but probably just need 5 minutes, so.
Whatever. I mean, you're the one who's gonna have to jump us out and back in,
Right.
so whatever you.
I'm good either way, as long as we just don't forget to do it.
Okay. So executive session at the end,
Okay?
or before the 1 o'clock stuff? Okay. Okay.
And that's a lot lot of it administrative business, but I think that's all I have.
We went through that. All right, so Travis. Dave.
If you take them. Okay. In your packets, I believe you have the run reports, the call volume, March, April, and May. And you can see that our call volume is down. People were afraid to go to hospitals. Our transports were down. I foresee that will come back as we open up here and people start moving around more. I'd like to think it's because people were being maybe healthier, but I know we went on some calls that people really should have went to the hospital, but we're simply afraid to. So obviously that affects money coming in as well. So we are aware of that, but that being said, we're using less fuel, we're using less supplies when we go on less calls. So questions on that, concerns on call volume? Okay, and then it's time for quarterly write-offs. You can see there that we're looking at writing off $11,545.14. I think there's a couple on there that are deceased. No insurance. The statute for collections has expired. But you also know from time to time we come back and we go the other way with that. If we can find some state set off, obviously not on the deceased ones, but we do send a lot of them to state set off where they'll get their income tax return. We'll get a portion of that. There is a percentage we pay for that, but it's better than not getting anything. So just because we write them off in here, that they will remain on set off. Once they're put on there, they're on there. By you guys writing them off after the statute, I'm just not continuing postage to mail out a bill that we're not getting anything on. So
I'd make that motion to write off $11,545.14 ambulance billing.
Second.
Second by Diane. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. 5-0.
the only other thing I have is we did have some large capital improvement things lined up for this year's budget side. $40,000 was set aside for mechanical CPR devices, $35,000 for vehicle acquisition. I know things are kind of uncertain right now, but I'd like to see where you guys are on moving forward on those items. So, aside from that would be the air conditioner at the Marion station. On a good hot day, it's 85 degrees in there. I've spoke with the heating and air people, and there's too much heat load, it's too small of a unit. Obviously, that's something I need to go get bids on, and I'd be happy to do that. But I want you to be aware that that's coming up as well. Now's the time.
Out of the building discussion we had, the 150 allowed for 25,000, right, to be held back to address that issue?
We had, when we put that in, Jonah, we had put building acquisition / maintenance, I believe. So
we had already.
I think we want to make sure there's
25,000 to go to.
Sure. So, in the near future, I plan to come back with information on what I can do air conditioning wise in the real near future, because they complain about the heat. But like I said, those other two kind of bigger items, I don't know where the commission stands on spending money right now, but I could certainly come back with some firm numbers for you. And I didn't want to do that if there wasn't a chance, so I guess I'm looking for some guidance here.
But you need those items, right?
Yeah,
to do your job and to provide the service to our people.
Absolutely.
So what choice do we really have if we need,
Right.
we need them?
Don't you required by law to replace that equipment?
Well, the defibrillators I will in 2021. The mechanical CPR devices is not mandated, but with staffing numbers, to do compressions, to do CPR for more than a couple minutes, it wears people out. Fortunately, I've been using local fire departments. They come out and help, which is a great thing, but you know, we did one the other day that was 45 minutes and everybody's tired at the end of that. It's not that we don't want to be tired, it's we want to do quality work. You know, we don't want to wear out and not give the person the best chance. So, and again, that was in part of the 2020 plan for the service. So again, I can come back with some hard numbers on that and see if you guys are willing to move forward with that as well. So,
Well, I would think since that's kind of a priority, you know, to move forward on that. I
Okay.
mean, the vehicle purchase could roll into the next budget year.
sure.
I would agree with Ken.
Okay.
I don't want to sacrifice on that.
You know, I kind of think that type of equipment is essential.
Okay. Again, yep, just looking for guidance there, but I can come back with some hard numbers on the other things, and hopefully by next week have something for you to look at. So, and then apparently I'll be back at 1 or
Yeah.
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 Hang out with you then.
Yeah. You can hang around for the recycling part too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if
I
you
think
need.
recycling is before
Yeah.
EMS, yeah.
That's 1 o'clock.
Yeah. So, and if you need me before that, feel free. I can make time for you. So, anything else? Questions?
Thank you.
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. All right, Bryce, is he coming up or? is he-
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
I really didn't have anything, especially for the commission. I sent the hard rock information from last week. I didn't really hear any comments, so I was gonna proceed, this week. So, other than that, most of that's gonna be for the budget.
Hey Bryce, make sure you're
Yeah.
speaking directly into your microphone, because we're getting like about half of what you're saying.
Okay, well, the mic's right in front of me. I don't know what the problem would be.
Okay, could you restate what you said?
Well, I'm just gonna say I really didn't have anything, other than I sent you the hard rock information for hauling the hard rock. I didn't hear any comments, so I was gonna proceed with that this week.
You talking about the 4 miles?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see anything wrong with starting it.
Yep.
does Anybody else have any input on, did you see the 4 miles to be addressed?
I haven't seen that yet.
Pull it back up. All right, so we're looking at from Limestone from 330th to 340th. 30th from US 77 east 1 mile. We're looking at 110 from Vista to US 50. And we're looking at 170th from K15 west 1 mile.
Some of those already done.
These are roads that are good enough to top off, is the way I understand. Is that correct, Bryce?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any concerns about any of that? All right, Bryce, I think pretty well from inside the room, it looks like everybody's okay with you proceeding with what you think you need to do.
Okay. Like I said, I don't know if there's anything else that really needs to go before the commission, so.
Okay, very good.
I had one, oh,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I had one question. Bryce, when we get sand, are we getting that from Wichita?
That's where we've been getting it in the past. It's ironic that, Travis Parma and I were talking about, and, we actually have a guy that has a sand plant out at Great Bend that's actually coming down to Harshman's, to pick up rock to take back. So, I just talked to him this morning, so he's gonna send me a list of the sand we have so that, we could work out a deal on a backhaul to get us sand, and he would come down and get rock and take it back, so.
Okay.
That's, but,
Yeah, I was just curious, because I was out in Reno County the other day, and they use lots of sand, and I drove right by the sand pit. It's about 2 miles south of Burton.
Well, this,
yeah, there's all kinds of sand over there. So, but I'll find out what this guy has made over there, and if we can get some good material for us, we may look at that too. So help us out on the backhaul.
Yeah, backhaul would be better.
Yep.
Diane?
And so Bryce, I have a question, on your hard rock, where are you buying that hard rock from?
It will be from Nelson, in Toronto, APEC, Hartford, and Woodbine with Ham.
Okay. And you will be getting sand for some of the roads, because I know I had sent you some, requests for sand with harvest coming up in the heavy trucks, and the dust is gonna, and I know you said it'll be this week, I think you said. So I
We're
just
hoping to.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything for Bryce? All right, thank you, Bryce.
All right, thanks.
All right. Randy Frank, you on?
Good morning.
Morning.
This morning I'm presenting my budget. You should have a copy. I dropped them off this morning because the email wasn't working, so you should have a hard copy there. There's only a couple of changes that we're making. On the annually we have $5,000 a year for vehicle replacements. So we're doing that, and I added an additional $5,000 in capital outlays. Next year we'll probably be replacing the truck that we're using. Excuse me, it's starting to have some rust issues in the bed. So we'll do that. The commodities, contractual services, those will stay the same, and personnel services obviously has increased because we have another employee, but I did increase it 4% for pay raise. I haven't asked for a pay raise since I've been here, which is a little over 6 years now. We'll discuss that later.
Randy, this count,
Yes, sir.
how much is that? The new position was partially funded by grant, correct?
Correct, 10 hours a week through public health.
Okay. So the portion that the county's obligated for is reflected in the 2021 budget?
Yes, sir, I believe that's correct. These are the numbers I got from Ashley, so I believe they're correct.
So the part-time position is the 26,000.
Well, that's a full,
It's a full-time position.
but it's partially funded by grant.
Yeah, I meant the time spent in emergency.
It's 30 hours a week with emergency management, 10 hours a week for public health.
Yep.
So that would be split between the two departments on
Yeah.
their budget estimates. The part-time wages is probably left over from a previous budget year, on the middle part.
Randy, how many miles a year does that truck do you put on that truck approximately?
I have to figure it out. It's a 2012 3/4 ton truck, and it currently has 148,000 miles on it right now.
Okay.
I don't have a calculator in front of me. It's been a lot less these last 3 months. I've been going to the EOC every day.
Is that type of vehicle required for what you're doing?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I think
Are you talking-
Ken's alluding to that type of vehicle, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
3/4. I
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be a
3/4 ton, I mean, is
truck.
a half
And
ton
I recommend
sufficient, or?
when we discussed this to go to something different like a Tahoe or something, which would be much more beneficial for the position.
Okay.
Sport utility vehicle or something like that.
I know once in a while, I think you've got to pull a generator, doesn't it?
We also have a 1-ton dually truck through a grant that we can pull the large vehicle trailers with.
Oh, okay. Is that one stored over Hillsborough?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
When does that become ours, or is it already ours? Why-
Well, I don't think it's already ours. I'd have to visit with the sheriff. He actually signed the contract on that, so I'm not sure what the contract says.
Right.
Is that the same type of setup for the generator also? Do we own that, or is that a multi-county thing?
Yes, both the generators. We have 2 generators. One's a 40K generator, one's a 10K generator with a light stand on it. Then, of course, there's a communications trailer, and we have a tower antenna with the dually truck. That's all Homeland Security equipment that we have here.
So it's good for anywhere in the state, anytime they want to pull it.
Yes, sir.
And
The little red trailer is not, though, correct? That's Marion County's.
I believe that was purchased through Homeland Security money, but I'm not sure if the sheriff owns it yet or not.
Okay.
so is that equipment on any type of replacement schedule or anything with Homeland Security?
It is, but the dually actually I think it's a 2011, and it has about 8,000 miles on it. We take it out once a month just to make sure that we lube up the gaskets. That's how often it gets used. But we cannot use the dually as a daily vehicle. It's part of the contract. It's supposed to be there for the deployment of equipment stuff.
Okay.
Randy, do you have any kind of estimation on how many over and above hours that you put in the last couple of months?
An estimate. Well, it's probably about 400 hours for the last 3 months. First couple of months we're extremely busy. We were probably doing twice the amount of hours during that time. And to follow up on a question Randy asked last week, this Saturday, several of the conference calls that we've been mandated to be on have been postponed. Now we're down to 3 a day instead of 6 a day. And the latest one in the day is now at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we can actually get out off work by 5 instead of 6 or 7 in the evening.
Is that still
So that will limit. Go ahead.
Is that still causing you to have to work extra hours on which normally would be taken care of?
No, we should be moving back to where we were
Okay.
this week. And
Anybody else have anything for Randy?
Keep up the good work, Randy. That's all I have for you.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's a team effort.
Thank you, Randy.
All right, have a good day.
All right. Isaac, he's standing at the door.
So I was told you guys wanted to talk about
Bait shop.
bait shop.
Isaac, do you wanna sit down? I mean, I don't think Brad's
Sit
gonna be
there.
here for,
Sure.
at least for a while.
You respect
I
the
won't
board.
say no to that. Okay, were there any questions or anything? I didn't get to listen to the meeting from last week, so I wasn't sure what all, the commission was wanting to know in regards to the bait shop.
I believe Mike Beneke come in, didn't he?
Yeah.
He brought it up. But I believe, didn't we tell you when we bought that stuff that we'd like to see a report of what you sold and all of that, and that, you know, to restock the important stuff and things like that?
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't think we've ever received a report yet, so
I
that's,
don't recall seeing it.
I think that's what we would, you know, if we don't know it,
Right.
how can we help
Yep.
you?
And I completely understand that. I have record of every single month since we've opened through now, as far as what we've sold and what we've purchased. I mean, our original purchase, was the $5,000. It was $2,500 for that machine, and it was $2,500 for the tackle and the other supplies that we got. Since then, I have not bought anything else. We haven't purchased anything else for the shop. The only purchases that we have made is to restock ice and night crawlers. Those are the only two things that we have spent money on since the initial investment. And I have all of that as well, as far as how we've kept that stocked. I guess in the past, they've stocked that stuff over the winter. I have not. Pretty much come November 1st, whatever we have in stock, we'll keep that until that sells out. And then I will not restock I haven't been restocking until about the 1st of April. And whether or not you could sell a little bit here and there over the winter, you probably could, but as far as losses go, I'm afraid we'd end up, you know, having leftover worms that spoil and ice that just isn't good anymore. So I haven't been doing that. So I've kind of been restocking on a seasonal deal just because I know it'll sell. But I have all that information as far as all of our monthly sales since we've opened. I have. If the commission wants, I can put a report together and email that out to you guys or bring that back, whatever you prefer.
I'm okay with an email.
So we've been keeping the machine stocked.
So that is something, the first year we got it, we did. We have had issues with overnight, something in that plug was going bad. And so you'd wake up the next morning and you'd have to go and check it, unplug it. It seems like if you plug it back in, fire right back up, no issues. But what we were having was on those hot days, the bait in there. I mean, as far as tackle and stuff, it doesn't really affect it, but it would be dead. And so we've since taken all the bait out. And there were 2 big refrigerators, from my understanding, that when Steve owned it, he sold those to a lake resident out there, who then said, if you guys are gonna try to do something, I will just donate them back, because they never left the office. They kept those in the office. He said he bought them, but he didn't have a place for them.
Oh, so that's where you've been keeping them?
In the
Because
refrigerator.
I had several people say, how's
Yes.
come there isn't anything in that machine?
Yes.
I said, I don't know.
So we have 2 big stand-up fridges that were originally, I think, sold and to a lake resident out there that didn't have a place for them. So he just asked if he could just keep them in the office. And they've just been there since. And he said he doesn't have any use for them and we could keep them right there. So that we've been using the 2 stand-up fridges in the
So-
office.
Have you had anybody look at that machine?
As far as, I haven't, no, I haven't. And we had some issues with some, I guess, change. People weren't getting proper change, so then we switched it up to direct or,
Credit card.
no, but just exact payment only because the change machine wasn't spitting out right. And honestly, we've had issues with it. And it, as of now, it hasn't been something we've fired up yet this summer. It hasn't been.
Would it be, I mean, we've got the investment in it, would be
Yeah.
worthwhile at least.
Well,
have a
see,
check
and that
to
was
see.
kind of my thing. I didn't want to throw any more money at it, and for the meantime, because we still had those we still had those fridges in the office. If that's something we want to do, definitely can. The company will come down and look at it, but I haven't contacted
Well, I
them.
mean, we either
haven't.
need to use it or sell it.
Well, yeah, if it's sitting out there and not stocked, it's gonna give the wrong impression.
Right.
Hopefully there's a note in there or something that says, please come inside.
Yeah, and there's a note on the little on the bottom door there that says worms are inside the office, and so that is up like that. But yeah, it's not stocked.
You know, I think we need to do something with that machine, either fix it or sell it. And, you know, maybe the cost to fix it prohibitive, I don't know. But
Right.
we'll
Well, and
find out.
I can definitely find that out.
It could just be something simple as a
Right.
corroded outlet.
Yeah.
That's outside there.
Because like you say, a lot of, it's kind of impression people drive by, oh, there's
Yeah.
nothing in the machine.
Yeah. Right.
And then when the office isn't open, you know.
Yeah,
it'd be
right.
nice for them to still be able to get something.
Right. That's definitely something I can do.
So I think that was our intent, we were buying that machine, so.
And it
so-
was, yeah.
And to alleviate you tying you down to the office, and stay there. to
People
be
out of the
safe.
office too. yeah.
Right.
Yes, yes. And I do still have another concern about stocking too much stuff out there, because I don't
Yes.
want the county to be in competition with our businesses.
Yes.
So I don't wanna go, personally, I think for the county to go full force bait shop out there, I think that would be very wrong to our residences that have a business in
Do
town.
we have a competing business out there?
We have two, well, not out there, but in the county.
Right, but it's local to the lake.
At the reservoir.
That doesn't matter. I mean, you're still competing with your county businesses. Do you agree with me on that, Mr. Dalkey?
Yep.
I think that's just the wrong thing for the county to do.
I think it's a good thing that something's there.
I do too.
But-
A little
but
convenience, yes.
What we do with the business is a whole different deal.
It is.
No, I was in there a couple weeks ago and, you know, there's one or two of everything. I didn't see very much like fishing equipment, maybe there's still some there, I don't know.
So pretty
Was that
much-
back or something.
I mean, as far as equipment goes, like we never had like rods or reels or anything like that. It was mainly tackle
Right.
and, you know, like some lures and things like that. Now, as far as like all the jigs and stuff like that, I still have a decent stock in that. What we've sold out of pretty much everything are just like your terminal tackle, so like hooks, weights, swivels, floats, and that thing, that I'm pretty much gone. I don't think I have any hooks left in the office at all. And that, I mean, that's all something that, you know, has been discussed as far as what it was. I mean, and I actually completely agree. You know, it used to be almost like a grocery store convenience. I mean, they had everything in there. And I don't know if there's necessarily a need for that. If we could, you know, maybe restock that terminal tackle, like some hooks and
Yeah.
weights.
Yeah,
That's
what we always were
very
really
basic,
talking about
yeah,
anyway.
essential stuff. And then the only other thing that personally I might suggest benefiting from having out there is our drinks. Whether it is just water or just a couple of different sodas and water. But I do think having something out there to drink would be a good thing to have. We did go with we had a vending machine company out of Halstead come and he put a soda machine there. And we had it there the first 2 summers, and after those first 2 summers, he said it was kind of out of his way, and for it being just a seasonal machine, he said, wasn't really worth it for him to have to drive over here to keep all that stuff stocked. So he took that out it would have been last fall. And so right now, I mean, we have a water fountain at the bathhouse, and that's about the only thing that we have out there. If someone needs something to drink, they gotta drive into town to get that. And that's something that we have the fridges in the office to
So you
do
got
something
rid of
like,
those coolers?
yes, yeah, we do. And that was another thing that I get asked about all the time that I thought might be a beneficial thing. I mean, for the people that are out at the lake, to have access to.
But again, have the
Yeah,
ride
right.
into town and patronize our businesses is what
Yeah,
we
then
want.
they,
Yeah,
drive, then they drive their side by side to town to get a drink.
Yeah. And
Might be a good thing.
whatever, and while they're there, they'll pick up something else.
Right.
They'll be food.
Yeah.
So that's
Right.
what we want. That's my thought.
Right.
These machines, these refrigerators, someday they'll give out.
Yeah.
Most likely. I mean, they've been there for a while.
Yeah.
So if you do anything, putting stuff in them, then when they go out, who fixes them? What do we do with them? And projected cost and stuff like that. I do understand wanting some sort of drinks. I do understand that. I mean, I thought the pop machine was still there, but
Yeah.
it left last fall, huh?
Yeah, it did. And I'm not saying that I couldn't find another, I couldn't find another company to possibly want to bring one out. And you know, with that machine, there was no cost to us except the cost of electricity for him to plug it in.
Right.
As far as running it, they did everything. He came out and he stocked it.
I know a local guy, I'll get him in touch with you.
Okay, because there's a possibility that maybe we could I could find somebody else to bring out another vending machine.
I'll have
I wouldn't have no problem with a vending machine for soda pop. I mean, after you close the doors at 6 o'clock sometimes,
Yeah.
or whenever you close,
Yeah.
or whatever time you close the doors, why, there's always somebody who comes up for a drink or
Yeah.
something. Just like grocery stores, they've got soda pop machines outside, and I really don't mind that. And I don't mind you stocking the essential stuff for that we already made, you know. I'd just like to know if we even come close to making our money back.
Yes, we have.
Oh.
Well, I have this right here. So since our initial buy, we have had a total in sales of $5,127.49. So our initial investment of the 5,000, we've done that. But if you factor in the restocking of ice and worms, since doing that, we spent another $698 on ice, and which we've made $1,253 on that 698 of ice, and we've spent $998 on worms, and we've made $1,627.
That's beside that 5,000?
That is including that 5,000.
That's including that
Yeah,
5,000,
so we're not, as far as
Right.
completely
Not even Steven yet,
correct.
but we're working on it.
Yes, we're close.
Okay.
It's not a bad deal, but it's not a good deal.
Right, and you know, and that's kind of been my thing from the beginning, and just from talking, because I talked to Dale about it, and I talked to Steve about it, and they said, you know, you're not gonna go broke doing this, and you're not gonna go get rich doing this, but I think the benefit that it brings to the people that are out at the lake is honestly more important or more valued than the actual dollar amount. I mean, obviously you don't want to lose money, you want to make money, but the people that are out there, because a lot of them come from Wichita and they come in their RV that they drive out there, and if they are run out of water or they run out of something, they have to get in that big machine and pack everything up and then drive that elsewhere for maybe 1 or 2 supplies, and then have to drive it all back out. And that, you know, it's also a seasonal thing. I mean, during the winter time, I might have 2 people that come into the office all day. So there is, I see both sides to it, I really do. But there are things in there that people really do appreciate having access to. But at the same time, I completely understand if we have this, then it's gonna take away from
From our
something somewhere
taxpayers.
else.
Yeah, people who live here year round and stuff and have a business.
Right.
That's right, so,
But we wanna, provide a good feeling or experience for the people who come to the county to camp out. And having minimum supplies of consumables. I mean, like your fish hooks, you know.
Those are the basics.
Yeah, I mean, you need stuff like that, and a drink, you could walk in around the lake, you wanna stop and have a drink. So we do need some amenities for the people coming to the lake.
And I'd be in full support with Randy and Diane if there was somebody else that was out there at the lake, private, that was wanting to do this, I would say, yeah, we don't wanna compete with them.
Right.
But if you're talking about driving clear out to East Shore to get materials,
Right.
I'm not gonna, I'm gonna go to where I'm at.
Right. Well, and that was another thing, because I think that was I think it was last year, there was a gentleman that was opening up a little shop in town here, and from my understanding, they're not opening up this year, but I don't know if they have plans on, and I think they're not opening up this year due to the coronavirus, and I think they have some health issues. But I don't know as far as long-term plan, if that is something they plan on opening back up next year or not, I don't know. But I do know, yeah, as of now, we've had to send a lot of people out to the reservoir. Because I think that is the only other, there are a couple of places in town that are selling worms and stuff, but as far as anything else, they are having to go out to the reservoir. And I believe that is the only other place in Marion County that is actually doing anything as far as bait and tackle goes.
Is there any zone commercial areas out there?
I don't know. I don't know that honestly, John, off the top of my head.
Just a reminder, please speak into your microphones.
Okay.
People are having trouble hearing.
The other thing is, are you checking all the boats that go out?
Yes. Every once in a while, we will get somebody that'll call in and say, I'm gonna be in tomorrow morning at like 6 a.m. There's a lot of those guys that if I know them, or that I know they're out at the lake, I won't make them come in and stop in and check. There's a lot of people out there that I know their boat never leaves the lake. Those lake residents and stuff like that. And if I know who it is, I mean, there are people that I say, go ahead and put on in the morning. I don't make them sit around and wait for me to do that. But besides that, yes, we do check every boat that comes on the lake.
And then, is it still active to have a no wake until noon?
So right now, the way it's set up is Monday through Thursday, it's sun up to sundown, you can cause a wake. Friday and Saturday, no wake from sun up to noon, and then from noon to 6 on Fridays and Saturdays, you can cause a wake, then at 6 p.m. it shuts off. And then Sunday is 10 a.m. to sundown. Yeah, so Monday through Thursday, sun up to sundown, Friday and Saturdays, noon to 6, and Sunday is 10 a.m. to sundown.
Been that way for years.
Yeah, it's been that way as far as long as I've known. We haven't changed anything since I came in. You know, I get people both ways. Some people say, oh, well, Saturday we want to cause a wake all day, change the fishing hours to Sunday. And then you also have people come in on Monday and say, I wish we'd have fishing hours Monday evenings, or, you know, it goes both ways. I don't know how long it's been set with this time, the time periods and when they can and when they can't, but we haven't changed anything since I came in.
Has there been a problem to enforce it?
About every single Friday and Saturday. It's not a problem, but you know, every Friday and Saturday, come usually 6 o'clock, I have to go out and stop a couple boats from causing a wake. Yeah, about every single Friday and Saturday I have to. I mean, a lot of it is they're out there and 6 o'clock rolls around and it's still sunny and they've been on the boat for the last 3 hours and have no idea what time it is. And we have a little light by the boat ramp that goes on, but it's a little red flickering light, and at 6 o'clock on a Saturday when it's still light out, I mean, it doesn't get much attention, it really doesn't.
When they inspect their boat, do you give them a sheet?
Yeah, I have a whole sheet printed off and everything, and that's it, you know, it's not that they don't know as much as it is they just lost track of time.
If they can get away with it.
Yeah, right.
One more time.
Yeah, it's every time, usually by about 6:30, we'll finally have gotten them shut down. And it's normally, yeah, it's one person that, you know, lost track of time, and once they see your lights on the truck, they immediately know what they're doing wrong. But it's always something that we're having to stop. And it's usually always Friday or Saturday at the 6 o'clock. Usually the morning times we don't have issues. But it is that 6 o'clock shut off time on Friday and Saturday. We do have to go out and stop a lot of boats at that.
Well, and that also due to, I mean, your daylight savings times is really, you know, I think this rule was put back in effect when there wasn't daylight savings time. And now when you're out there at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, it's still, I can still boat. But,
right.
I think these are the same rules when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah, it ain't
It's been that long.
Yeah. Still the same thing, lights comes on the truck, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, you know, if you change the hours,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you'd still have the same problem.
Yeah, and that's it. I don't think that, and like I said, I don't think people are doing it just because they're trying to break the rules as much as it is that they do it because they just completely lose track of time. You know, it's 6 o'clock and they're going and they're not looking at their clock. Now, normally once you see all the other boats shut down, they'll shut down. But there's some days it takes us about 30, 40 minutes to get them all shut down, especially being out in the truck and you have to try to get their attention while they're out in their boat.
Don't you have a loudspeaker?
No.
Didn't Dale have one?
Yeah, they used to, and they used to have one on the old Ford, but my truck has lights, but it doesn't have sound. We had an air horn that we blew, and it's since ran out, so I mean, and that worked fine. I just need to get another one.
You know, you might check with Rob, because the police cars go in and out like crazy, and they've got loudspeakers on them, and
Okay.
and see if he's got it set up, because
Okay.
I think a loudspeaker would.
Yeah, it would
I
definitely
would
make
think
things
that-
a lot easier.
Dale used to
Yeah.
have one that reached all the way across the line.
Yeah. If you take those new ones in the cars, you know, when they speak, you can hear them quite a ways away, so.
Okay.
I'd like to see that probably put on your vehicle. And if not, let us know what to do with it. So.
On the pop machine stuff, the Coke and Pepsi dealers will give you a free machine, I think. They can sell you the pop.
Well, this local guy will do the same thing too. He'll set a machine.
Okay.
Yeah, if we've got somebody local,
Yeah.
let them do business.
Then you're not competing with a local business.
Well, and our experience with vending machine has been kind of like what Isaac's one is that they will do it, but they want you to purchase a certain amount. And if you're not, you know, they want to restock it on it.
Yep.
On their route.
On their route, and if you know, we were to the point where we ended up finally just getting our machine and stocking it ourselves because we were having to buy so much product and it was going out of date because there was a minimum that they want.
I don't know, I have the machines in my shop and I don't have near the sales anybody else does, I can guarantee that.
Okay.
Because my garage door closes at about
Right.
5 and nobody can go in and use
Yeah.
it, so. But he doesn't have any problem with stocking it.
Okay. Well, and I mean, I think that'd be a great thing because, I mean, people would have access to it and it's not a lot of time on our end having to mess with it. Yeah, like I said, we just ran into the problem with we weren't selling as much as the guy wanted us to be selling. It was pretty much what it came down to, and so he pulled that.
I've never got a minimum issue, and like you said, we pay for the electricity for the machine.
Right.
And he just handles it all.
Right. Okay.
So going back to the bait and tackle, do we need to give Isaac direction on to restock the
Essentials.
essentials or consumables? I mean,
Just the essentials
Okay.
on the
I
tackle
think so.
part.
yeah, I mean,
On the tackle.
because everybody brings their own rod and reel, but you know,
Yeah.
they need more hooks and
You need hooks, you need
sinkers.
weights, you
Floats.
need bobbers, floats.
And honestly, that's the only thing that I am sold out of. I mean, as far as like
That's pretty
jigs
well.
and-
Tells you what you need to
Yeah,
stock up
right,
on.
right. And
Yeah,
Can you buy from wholesalers or you?
I think
We
we
bought
can.
from an individual on that last.
Yeah,
project.
and that's what I was
I know
gonna
that,
say.
yeah.
I wonder if he still has other,
Stuff he very well might.
you might check with him.
Just propose, just a thought.
Yeah.
And, is there any chance that we can just go buy it from the other bait shop and put a slight markup on it?
There's a very good chance of that, yeah. I've honestly, I haven't been out there for like a year.
Individual in Hillsborough, we made the first purchase from, and he maced it, he had half of this stuff. We bought about
Yeah,
half what
yeah,
he had, maybe.
probably.
So who had it?
So he may still have stuff.
Yeah.
Might be worth just checking with him too.
Well, yeah, it'd be help to clear that out.
Yeah.
But then kind of
Yeah, but-
irons out some of this.
But then you're getting too high priced. The public don't come in and say that we're gouging him on the price. The guy, because he bought his last
Right.
stuff at Dick's Sporting Goods, we got to charge him 3 times as much.
But
You know, sometimes you can't have convenience and price at the same time.
Usually in a convenience
I know.
store like that, you're paying double anyway.
Yeah, and you're talking about boating and fishing, I mean,
Yeah.
is that not some of the biggest expenses
But
out there anyway?
Usually not high dollar anyhow.
Yeah.
But if you do.
just trying to think outside the box here. We don't want to compete with local businesses, so we
Right.
can actually help them. We just give them more of a
Okay.
satellite place.
He's had $5,000 worth of sales over the last 2 years. We're not really
Yeah.
competing against anybody.
Right.
Oh, I think, like, you kidding? To some people, that's a lot of money, especially in today's times.
Why not to keep your business open? You gotta do that weekly.
Yeah.
I think we,
I don't know
I
that
think
you
we
know that.
trust Isaac to
Yeah.
buy what he thinks he needs.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
it's-
We just gotta give him direction
Yeah,
Yeah. I just
to
wanna be-
restock.
he's the boss.
Just be very careful not to compete with our taxpayers and
Okay.
people already established in business is my thought, for sure.
Right.
Stand up for the people that are paying taxes, get it down, not,
I think it's proven though that you can stock that stuff back, save, make some money on it for what we're doing and move ahead. I mean, as far as the hooks and bobbers and sinkers, things like that, why, that's 3 things.
Ice and worms, yeah.
And that's the convenience, cause you ain't gonna find it out at East Shore.
Right.
I mean, you're not gonna find it when you go to the reservoir and go fishing.
Right.
There's no convenience out there, just so happens this person, we've been around here for, the reservoir's been here since the 64s, 65, and I think that's the first bait shop, the other one was over here on the highway, Canada Bait Shop. He used to do quite a bit, yeah.
That was,
He used to do quite a bit of business, yes.
and that was really crippling when he went out.
Yeah, yeah.
Because then there only was the county lake.
Yes.
And I was honestly surprised because I don't usually go out to the county lake to get my bait, but when I was told that it wasn't the way it always was, I was unaware of it,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
And I think there's a lot of people that still, there still are, I still get people in there that say, holy cow, this has changed since.
Yeah.
And it's been like this now for I think 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And, they still come out there and kind of walk in the office,
Yeah.
a little shocked, but.
Do you still have the bait tanks in there? Are they?
We still have the tanks in there, but, they're not utilized.
And that's the other thing is live bait.
Yeah.
I don't know of any live bait in Marion County, other than worms.
Last Chance is the only one, and that's Last Chance bait out of the reservoir. They do have it, but they are the only ones that have it.
I didn't know that they did.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking right there at the corner to going to Cottonwood.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they don't have minnows.
Oh,
I don't know.
I think they did.
the last time I checked with them, they did, and that would have been
I had heard,
April or May, unless maybe they.
I'd heard other things about
Okay.
KBIG.
And that very well
not
may-
having
that very well may be.
lagoon and not allowing you to have live bait without having a lagoon.
Interesting. And see, that'd be new to me, because I didn't know that.
They're all legal right now. And everything.
But you might check on that machine just to
Yeah, and I
see
can
what
do
it
that, yeah.
costs.
Okay,
I mean, we had got a little investment.
yeah, I can definitely do that.
I think they do, but I don't know. I'm gonna find out for sure, but I
Okay.
think they do.
Yeah, I'm not absolutely 100% positive. I
Okay.
was out there the other day and So there's no live bait for me to pick from that I know of. So
Okay.
I go to this place.
Yeah, because they were the only ones that I thought did in the county. So that's news to me, and that's good to know because I've been sending people out there.
Yeah. I don't think they're permitted for live bait out there, so if we had the opportunity to provide live bait somewhere in the county, that would be competing.
Why would somebody wanna check that out first,
Right.
be sure and find out why they're not permitted for it? Maybe they don't want it. If they don't want it, that's fine.
We don't know what we're doing out there either.
Yeah, I know. We have a sewer system.
Okay.
That's
There's
so
not
bad.
the acceptable problem with
Yeah, it'd have to be, it's gotta be somehow it's tied in like that.
Okay.
It's,
I didn't know whether it was something else or what.
so, I'm in agreement with everybody here, it's just
Yeah.
walking a little line here. And
Right.
I agree completely with Dave, that convenience keeps people coming back. And we don't wanna compete against the other businesses, so if we can merge those two things,
Right.
that's what I would like to see.
Okay. Okay.
How's Doc coming along?
Yeah, so there was a couple of other things I wanted to talk about. So I went and met with Ben on Friday morning. I drove over there to his place and he showed me, he's got all the framework, everything's welded together, pieced together. He's got the whole dock frame in 4 pieces, 4 separate sections, and his plan is to bring those sections over. He has them all marked. Once he gets the floats, weld them together on site, and get started. But we still run into the same problem. He says he cannot get the floats. He said he's been trying, the companies out of Florida, they still aren't shipping any floats.
They're the only supplier?
Well, and so that is something I've talked to him about because there's been a local guy that's been working around Marion doing a bunch of rebuilds on the private docks out on the lake. And he's getting them from a company down in Arkansas. And he said originally, about a month ago when I was talking to him, he was having the same problem. He could not get them. And so he was actually paying a guy to drive down there and get them on a trailer and bring them back. But now he's saying his company in Arkansas is shipping them with no problems. And so I talked to Ben about if this isn't anything that looks like it's gonna start happening anytime soon, then maybe we need to start looking elsewhere for floats. And he said he would do so. He said he's worked with this company in Florida since he started building docks, and he's just got a relationship with them, so that's why he's been doing business with them. And you know, I tried to make it very clear
We
to
need it
him
done.
that,
Yeah, we need it done.
and it's not just for me and the lake, but it's for the whole community, the county, everybody that comes out here. They're calling you guys, they're calling me, and we need to see something. Kind of what I told him.
And I've got an enclosed trailer, I can go pick them up.
Well, and you know, and that was something that we talked about. He does have all the framework done and everything. He's got the decking materials for all that. He's been able to purchase that stuff in the meantime, but he doesn't have any floats. And so that was a conversation him and I had. He said as soon as he gets those floats, he's ready to come over here and do everything, but he's just been waiting on those floats. And so he said he's gonna look elsewhere. I gave him the name of the company from Arkansas, and like I told him, I'm not a float expert, but at the same time, I think there's somewhere else that we could get those. And so he said he was gonna check on it. And I said, you know, we'll be in touch, and that's where that's at. I mean, he's got all the decking materials, he's got the framework done and ready to go. He's just been waiting on the floats now since April.
We just need to be right.
Well, and that's,
Give him a call tomorrow and see where he's got that found out.
okay, I can do that.
Squeaky wheel gets greased.
Yeah.
And then my very last thing was, we had originally discussed our Bluegrass Festival. We planned on rescheduling that for July 31st and August 1st. Since we've done that, it seems like everything was opening up. We got everything, our posters and our t-shirts and everything ready to make. There's a festival at Wilson Lake called Lovegrass Festival, which is the second weekend in August. They have since canceled. And now there is a huge bluegrass festival down in Winfield, Kansas every year, and they have since canceled. And with that, a couple of our bands that had originally said that they would reschedule with us as long as everything that was opening, they have since told us that with all these other festivals canceling, they no longer want to do it. So we met, our bluegrass committee met Saturday, and we discussed everything that was going on and possibilities that we could do. What we're thinking about doing now is going ahead and not canceling the event, but with the restrictions we've seen from the bands and everything, what we're thinking about trying to do is just, with all the bands, reschedule them for next year. Have that event next year, and this year we were thinking about doing an all-free event, just like a camp and jam thing, where local musicians and the band members that are comfortable, because a lot of people just want to come out to the lake and have the same feel. That way we could still try to invite campers out. It'd be a free thing. They could play music back in our little pavilion area. We wouldn't use the stage. And then I think we would still try to have like our cornhole tournament and maybe see if there's a food vendor that wants to come out for the weekend. So it wouldn't be our bluegrass festival. We wouldn't call it a bluegrass festival. It would just be like a music weekend out at the lake. And we're thinking about going that route, and we wouldn't spend any money on the bands or on flyers or on posters, so we wouldn't be out any money. But we would still try to bring people in and have a fun little music weekend.
Could be something that supplements in years to come.
Yes,
It
right.
might be something that people like. I mean, I don't mind going seeing
Might
some
be a
hometown
new
heroes.
event.
Right, and talking to the bands, a lot of them had like 2 or 3 members that were totally for having the event. They have one that say, I really don't feel comfortable. And given the circumstances and those other events canceled, we just figured it'd probably be in the best interests of everybody for this year just to cancel, because it's a lot of time and a lot of effort. And we were already gonna have to knock it down to about half of our bands. And we just decided with all that in play that we would just probably cancel and try to turn it into, just like a fun little music weekend, that same weekend that we rescheduled for. But I think that's the way that we're gonna go on that, unless you guys have any objections to that.
So can you do that event in the campgrounds without just packing people?
Yes, we can. Well, and you talking about the actual bluegrass event, or?
No, I'm talking
just-
about what you're planning.
Yes, yes, we can. And we kind of planned on doing it on 2 little separate campgrounds. And it's not gonna be any like real bands that are there.
Yeah, it's just
showing up.
people wanna
Yeah,
come out
just
and look.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And so that's kind of what we're going for. As far as campground, it's just been so weird this year as far as busyness. It seemed like very early in May when we opened back up, we were packed for 3 weekends in a row. We didn't have an available camping spot. And now since I think the reservoir opening up helped a little bit with that. And it's just been maybe so hot and windy. But the last few weekends we've been running pretty standard to where we normally are this time of year. It's hard to say. If we did something like this, what the turnout would be.
You don't know until you try it.
Yeah, right. And that's kind of what we were thinking. And we would like to bring, have a lot of people out there, kind of keep the same feel as our bluegrass weekend, and that's what we were thinking. It's not gonna be the same event, but at least it's gonna be a fun little weekend where everybody can still come out.
Well,
that normally
there's a
does.
good example of that. You're talking about the Bluegrass Festival in Winfield being canceled.
Yes,
Yes, they have big stage events,
yes,
but a majority of it is in the campground.
Yes.
People just getting together and playing, and they just come out and do that for a week.
Yeah, they go a week ahead of time.
Yeah.
So, you know, that could be being real popular, you don't know, they try it.
And then if people don't pay attention to the cancellations and they show up,
Yes.
at least they
There's
supplemented it with
there.
something.
Yes.
And just, I did get a text back from Janice that she said they do sell minnows and stuff.
They do.
That's what she said.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
They didn't want you to have it.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, that's what she said. God, if anybody wants to read it.
Enough direction.
Yeah, I think so. I think we can get some terminal tackle in there, and then if you want to get a hold of me with that, and then I'll see what it will cost to get somebody to come look at that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, because, you know, we spent some money on it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the electrician's idea is sitting over here and look that out first, see if it's
Okay.
all rusted up. Wasp and mud daubers and whatever may be in it.
Yeah, it's out.
How long's it been there?
It may be,
Yeah.
yeah, it might be.
It's outdoor outlet.
Yeah.
Probably not grounded anymore.
Just put a GFI in there.
Okay.
And I do have people saying they can't hear.
Yeah.
Very good. Like King says, speak in your microphone. Like I'm not doing.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we do have, Brad has called in. He was just gonna be leaving Newton, and I said, well, maybe it'd be better just to call in because we're pretty much at the end of the morning's agenda. So I don't know if you had specific things that you need to discuss with him, but he is on.
I think, have you had any public comments?
Is Brad gonna get on? Gonna get off the phone or?
Yeah, he's on the phone. Brad, are you there?
Okay.
I am.
Got any good news for us, Brad?
I planned on being there, and I apologize. It's getting a little late next week. I could use a pretty short executive session on matters of potential litigation if we can arrange that. I know it's harder by phone.
It's doable. We're gonna do one at the end after the commission comments anyway. Is that doable for you?
Sure.
Okay, we'll just have two of them. If that's,
We're there now.
yeah, we've got to go through public comments. If there are any commission comments on that. So I would open it up to public comment if there is any. There's nobody here sitting in the free chair. So the most I got was lean forward and speak into your mic. That's the public comment I got. So anyway, so I guess I'll close the public comments and we'll go on to commission comments. With that, I'll close the chat box. I don't have any disruptions. Anybody have any non-agenda items that they need to discuss or talk about?
I had two things I want to bring up. Just to bring up at the commission. I kind of have a little bit of an issue with this situation here with the people on the chat box because as a commission, I think we should all see that always. I know that there were some people that over the course of several meetings, yeah, I want to always see who's on there, who is on there, and when someone puts in, because it is commission comments. And so, and I know over the course of a couple of weeks or something, I've heard you say, well, I answered it already, or Gina answered it or whatever, but it's not a conversation between you and a person. It is a commission comment. I just think we should all have the right to see who is up there. And I know when I leave the commission meeting, from time to time, I do have people tell me, well, they ignored me, or I didn't see this, or whatever. And I just don't think that's good for public. I just think we need to handle that differently. So I'm requesting that that stay up there and that we all see it, just keep it out. I mean, for transparency, that would be the right thing to do.
That blurb will light up red if there's a new comment, just so you know.
And sometimes someone comments directly to me or to someone else on
Yeah.
on here.
But
And you're
it
not
is-
commenting to everyone.
But
Right.
even still, okay, so if it's a private email to you, that's different, but if it's under public comment,
But she's sharing her screen, so it's going to share
okay,
all
so,
of it.
I'm just saying, I don't think we're giving the people the proper voice that
Well,
they're entitled.
I can address this real easy. You can all log in just like I do.
You can do that, but you have the screen up there, so we can do the same thing.
I can look at everything that's addressed to,
Okay, so you're saying that the screen cannot be up there, that we can't all see it?
no,
Okay.
we can, it's just.
Okay, so then what's the big issue from what I'm asking?
Because there's going to be, she's sharing her screen, and then if you look at my screen, they have certain blurbs that you don't see on that screen, because they were sent directly at me. Yeah,
So people on the meeting, they can choose who they're interacting with. And so we may not all be seeing the same thing. So if they're wanting to do it as a public comment,
it needs to
they
go out
probably
to
need
everyone.
to do it, respond to everyone on the chat, and then it will show up. So
And
I
then-
don't have a problem sharing it up there. It's still hard for you to see on that screen.
Well, it is hard for me to see, but at least I have the option of putting glasses and binoculars on or whatever. If I wanted to see it, I could.
Yeah, I can't read it.
But, I mean, just keep it hidden, and I guess the reason I even bring it up is because of the comments that I've had and the dissatisfaction that I've had from people who feel as though they're being denied their rights to speak publicly. So I'm bringing that up because I do try to be the voice of the people, and so that's what I'm bringing up, and see if there's anything that we can do to make it better.
There is something.
And if there is-
you can log in. You can log in.
I can
It's
log
a
in,
very
but you can
simple-
do this too,
It's a very simple step.
okay?
I
So,
mean-
so Phyllis is sitting there, and if I log in, then Phyllis doesn't get the chance to see it, and she's part of the public. I mean, when we had people coming in, there was none of this, well, I'm just gonna talk to you, or I'm just gonna talk to you. It was public.
Oh, there was some demeaning words said to direct commissioners, I've seen.
But that, Jonah, you're gonna have to get used to that,
Well,
because you're in a
I'm
public
not-
position.
I'm not saying I don't
You're
have
gonna
thick
take the-
skin.
You're
I'm
gonna
saying-
take the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I'm
I
gonna say,
did.
for you to say that nothing was directed at one person is a flat out lie.
No, I didn't mean to say that nothing was directed, because I've been there. I mean, I was a victim of all kinds of
Right, and I see.
ugly things, okay,
seen
but
it.
that's part of the job.
And-
You're gonna take the good and the bad, and for you to try to filter that out is not appropriate. I mean, you can't sit here and just get compliments all day long. That's not what that's not what the job's about. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up. I mean, I know you disagree with that apparently, but I did tell some people that I would bring it up, and I did. Okay, and so the other thing that I wanted to, I still say we need to just open up the meetings. I know that it was discussed at the end. I just feel as though, come on, open up the meetings. It's just not necessary. Yeah, there and there. I mean,
But nobody's been here all day.
nobody's coming in because they know that maybe they'll have a seat, maybe they won't. There was 2 people last week that come in, but Mike was there, so of course they had to stay out there. So, I mean, it's still not opening up the
That's
meeting.
what we had to
It's like you
monitor
might
out
be
there.
able to, excuse me, you might be able to come here and have a seat, you might not.
Uh-oh.
I'm just saying, okay? I just,
Mike, control. There you go. Tina got you.
and then one final thing that I would like to bring before the commission, and that is, I think we need to get back onto the road and bridge work session. We had the work session the last time,
It's already been 2 weeks.
but somehow it was diverted over to the future 5-year plan, and there was a lot of things that we have been postponing for months and months and months and months, and that is, using of the ditches, and how we're gonna handle people buying rock and putting it on their roads, and policies and so on for the type of rock that we're gonna allow people to buy. I mean, there's a host of things of policy that we have been really kicking the can down the road and haven't seriously addressed them. And that's what I thought the last work session was gonna entail. But then it went to just a future 5-year plan. And so I think we need to put that back on the agenda and get onto that a little bit, get some of those issues ironed out. That is our job, policy making, and I just think we should not let that go to the wayside. So that's what I wanted to bring before the commission. And I'll remind you again in a week or two if we don't make something on the schedule, so that it don't fall to the wayside. Like I said before, unfinished business category or something.
I had a few things, but I was gonna go ahead and wait for everybody else. All right. Last week I brought up, and I know it's a tiptoe subject, but and Kent brought up a pretty good point, and I didn't know how to address it being an elected official. So that's the reason why I didn't bring up the clerk in my comments about the health director and the emergency management personnel, both salaried. And you know, they put in a lot of extra hours, and I just wonder if well, between the three of them, if they, and I don't know how to do it with an elected official, so I mean, I just wonder if some compensation is really needs to be
Well, you know,
considered.
I think we're at a point in time in the year, you know, we can look at it on the budget side going forward.
Well, I'm not trying to increase any
No,
salaries.
I understand
I'm
where
just
you're
trying to
coming
do it
from,
one
but you know,
time.
there's an inherent risk when you're county health department head. There's an inherent risk when you're emergency management, and you know, we've seen it the last 2 years. Last year, floods all the time. This year, pandemic. I mean, when you take on that job, there's an inherent risk that I might not be working 40-hour weeks. I mean, there's all kinds of occupations out there that dictate, you know, maybe I'm only gonna be busy for 25 hours this week, next week it goes to 50. I mean, Tina's a good example of that. I mean, she's on 40-hour work week, but she sends me emails at 7:30 at night, and I tell her to go home. She still doesn't listen to me, but.
Give them on Sunday too.
You know, we have number of not elected, but department heads that have to, in order for them to do what they have to do, it just takes sometimes more time. And sometimes they have to do it when there's not very many people around so they can get it done. And, you know, I'm not saying that they're underpaid, overpaid, or whatever, but you get into what we've been through, there's an expectation. I would think if I was the head of the department, I'm gonna have to tell my family, hey, this is gonna take up my time for a while, so, you know, don't leave me, whatever. And, you know, I'm not, you know, we can certainly look at it when it comes to budget time and say, something like this is gonna happen every year. Maybe that position requires a little bit more money. I don't know.
I agree with you. Yes.
I'm gonna go down a little different road than you are, Kent, but yet it's the same road that you're on. I'm just gonna travel a little different. Every department head, okay, right now we've got the transfer station. What kind of extra work is that gonna throw on that person?
Right.
We've got the treasurer, we've got the city county clerk, we've got the register of deeds. Every certain time of the year, they all have extra things to do, usually. I mean, not every year, but a lot of the years. And then you got the road and bridge that can year round. I mean, we've the highest paid person we may have is an engineer out here. But I think he's putting his hours in and doing it very diligently. But I'm just saying that no matter what I choose in the department heads of this county, in their department, it's the appraiser's office down there at certain times it gets wicked. And so I have a hard time going down the road you're going, Jonah, without looking at the rest of my departments and things in emergency or traveling the ambulance department and stuff like that. So I understand what you're saying, but yet I have to look at a bigger picture and look at all my people and see what I can do for all of them to support them, or what I can do. You just have to go down that road that you thought maybe a little extra funding or something to that effect, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm not looking to increase the salary at all.
Yeah.
It was never about that. It was more of a pat on the back.
Yeah,
It was
well,
one time.
Yeah. And don't forget everybody that we got working here,
Right.
because it could go clear to the janitor.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well,
We have
that
to-
one needs to be addressed too, I think.
As a commission, I agree with Randy. I mean, it's a global issue. It really is, and I understand that there is some department heads that, you know, this is what happened, and I hate to say it's part of the job, but it's a requirement.
It's a job. And that's one of the blessings of being salaried. If you have appointments and things like that that you have to take care of throughout this week, you have the freedom to go take care of that. In the same token, when you have to work overtime or something, you have to do that too.
I'm not.
But I would also say that when we get into budget time, some of these departments, and we know that, some people do, we need to look at pay raises. We need to sometime address that. And I think if we pay them fairly, when these situations come up, we wouldn't be even in this position to discuss this.
A whole bunch.
Well, I'm
I mean, coming from the private sector and be able to go, I mean, we're very fortunate to have people, you know, government here in the courthouse that enjoy their work and don't mind putting in the extra time and effort. It's just like private enterprise, you know. I'm lucky because I got 30 people who like their job and they will put in extra effort without being asked or rewarded, you know. If we all tell them thank you, which I think we, people in the courthouse do appreciate us, and I haven't heard any bad comments that, you know, we're overworking them, but we're in a community that has a work ethic. That you don't ask, you just get the job done. Which is, you know, I'm glad I live in Kansas. Because and yes, everybody needs to be rewarded, but how do you do it fairly? I mean, talking about the clerk, but she's got 6 or 8 people under her who make her look good too. I mean, so.
And it goes back to 2 years ago. We've looked at a pay plan, done nothing with it.
Yeah,
It may not be perfect. Maybe there needs to be some areas that need to be tweaked, but we haven't got there.
But it's just hard, you know, that's, like, I think Diane said, being on salary, you know, that's an advantage and disadvantage. But everybody's right, and nobody's wrong in this. And I wish there was money to give everybody $100 bill.
Yeah. And by no
But
means.
there isn't today.
No way am I trying to push my own agenda. I just wanted to give some consideration, and I really appreciate around the table, everybody, I really
You know,
appreciate it.
if we were in private business, we could go out and buy a whole box of gift cards. Just start passing them out, but it's a little different
If you
situation.
could afford it.
Oh,
No,
that's,
we just need to keep telling people thank you and good job.
and we got a lot of people to tell thank you. We're lucky.
And return, you know, if somebody asks you a question, try and give them an answer right away. Don't
Yeah.
put it off, which I think everybody's getting their answers.
That's all I had.
Okay.
I really appreciate everybody just having this conversation, so.
Yeah.
With that, I guess we need to, which executive session do we want to go to?
I think probably do the attorneys first, and then mine's just a real simple personnel one,
Okay.
and it won't take very long.
Brad, just wanna call in on the phone?
Brad needs, what,
Yes.
5-10 minutes? Half hour?
No, I think we can, it's just 2 items and probably, why don't you say 10 minutes to be safe?
Okay. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss attorney-client privilege. Item number 2, consultation with our attorney for the amount of 10 minutes with the board and our legal counsel pursuant to KSA 75-4319B.
Second.
Wait, what's the topic? Is it,
Litigation.
Potential litigation. Or current litigation.
was that current or potential or pending? What was that, Brad?
Potential.
Thank you.
Potential. So I was right on that first.
Second.
Still got a second by Randy.
Sorry about that. Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay,
We
so
will
we will,
resume back on the virtual meeting at 11 o'clock.
okay, well,
Well,
it's
no,
10:51, so
11:05.
11:05 back on the call. Okay, thank you.
That way it gives it time to click back in. That's right. I can just call Brad. Leave him on the call.
We're gonna do another 10 minutes. Now we're gonna come in and come out, or?
Yeah, we'll come in and come out.
Okay.
I didn't anyway. We don't want
You made it.
What are you looking for? Somebody gonna get you?
I thought we had some litigation going on. I mean, attorney was there, counsel.
He's on the phone.
No, okay.
Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, out of executive session, no action taken. We need to move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss item number 2 with our attorney-client privilege, potential litigation for 10 minutes with the board and Brad Jantz pursuant to KSA 75-4319B. Meeting, second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Meeting, the go-to meeting will resume at 11:20.
Okay, so we'll be back on the call at 11:20. Okay. We're back.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, out of executive session, no action taken. Now, we need one more executive for personal matter.
Yeah, this would be
Non-elected.
5 minutes for non-elected personnel, and this is for Fmla approval,
Okay.
but it's a little bit more in depth, so.
I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss item number 1 for personal matters of non-elected personnel for a matter of 5 minutes with the board. Tina, pursuant to KSA 75-4319B.
To discuss family medical leave request.
To discuss FMLA.
Second.
Second by Randy. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Okay. So it's 11.
11:20.
Back at 11:30.
Yeah, you gotta leave a little, we've always been giving you a little extra time to get back on, so
Okay.
11:30.
Okay.
This will now be recorded.
$3.50 a gallon.
Okay, so 11:30, my cell phone, out of executive session, no action taken. At this point, I make a motion that we approve FMLA for Randy Frank.
I'll second it.
We got a motion and a second by Randy. Is any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. 5-0. Okay.
That's it.
Yes. Anything else? Make a motion to adjourn until our afternoon work session.
Second.
Second by Ken. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. 1 o'clock.
This conference will now be recorded.
Make sure that the video comes on.
Okay, so we got Hillsborough is here. Who's
Some
Is
of
there a
that-
red light, Diane?
I don't see it.
I see the red
I
light.
see the red light in the middle.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, that says recording,
Yeah.
yes,
Still?
yeah.
We got Rogers here, so we have both cities represented. Don't see anybody else. So, all right, it's past 1 o'clock in our work session with both Marion and Hillsborough was to come first. And after that, we'll go ahead and let Marion get on with their day, and we'll go on to the Hillsborough EMS station. So right now, we'll just take up the recycling. I want to, my personal feeling on this is to make it work somehow. If we can figure out what the difference is, this is my mind thinking out loud. If we can figure out what the difference is between our tipping fee and our ton fee on recycling, that way, you know, the solid waste is still covering a portion, because that's where it would all go if we didn't do recycling. And we could get the contributors of recycling to pick up the difference.
Who's off of Hillsborough?
Larry is on with Dale, it appears.
Maybe they could give us their input.
And Ben, looks like. And I don't see Rogers turned on. Sorry, Larry, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I have Mayor Lou Thurston, our new city administrator, Matt Stiles, Dale Dahlke, and Ben Steckity here in the room with me.
Okay. So, Roger, also here?
Yes, I'm on the call, and to my knowledge, I do not have anyone else on the call today.
Okay. All right. Kent, you had said something about getting input from cities and their thoughts?
Well, since Hillsborough's a major contributor to the recycling that I don't know, did you guys get any of the information that was supplied to us this morning about the total recycling?
It's on Tina's screen right now. If you go down to the second page, it'll show.
Yeah, go down to the second page at the bottom for the totals. We had since January, we've had a total of 165.47 tons of recycling, of which Hillsborough contributed most of it, almost 105 tons. So I guess we'll be looking for some input from Hillsborough.
And just add to that, the other communities that make up the balance besides Marion haven't contributed since February.
Can you make that a little bit larger so that we can see? I've got my projector out here on, so we can see it up on the wall. So,
Okay.
I enlarged it here. I don't know if you can do something on your own screen.
Yeah, when you go and move your cursor over the top of the display, it should pop up to your right-hand side maybe, a zoom in.
okay.
I'll try to email it to you also.
Okay.
Inside.
Can't get anything about it.
No, you have one on those times too?
Am I missing something? I don't see Hillsborough on this piece of paper here.
Hillsborough's at the bottom. It says monthly recycling report at the top. Then the very finish line before the totals is where Hillsborough is shown.
We have to make it smaller.
Just tell me the figures are.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Just make sure we're all looking at the same page here. Roger, are you able to see it?
Yes, I am, thank you.
Okay.
Well, with that number that's showing up there on the on your report, it looks like we're doing a good job of doing recycling in our community.
Yes, sir.
When we set about trying to do that, we did an awful lot of PR, as you know.
Yeah.
Tell people what they could and couldn't do, and so we've pretty much multiplied our collection. I think we've probably 2, 3, 4 times the collections over what we were doing just at the recycle center, just off downtown. So we've obviously taken to recycling as being an important service in our community. That shows. So.
Josh Hausman. What,
yes.
What'd you say our last tipping fee was, dollar-wise, per ton?
$120 a ton.
Okay.
What's regular trash?
What's the regular tipping fee in Butler?
Oh, Butler.
$38 a ton.
Okay.
How much was it?
38.
38.
And 120.
120 on the recycling.
Yeah. So we're looking at a balance of what, $82?
$120 for recycling.
Ton per ton.
120.
$38 for regular
38 for our
trash.
tipping fee for the trash.
Okay.
So the difference is $82 a ton.
$13,000 to recycle.
So that's, yeah.
$13,500 to recycle.
Is that January's included total? Is that everything? January through May, 5 months?
That's on
Yeah.
the sheet here.
Yeah, but that's only our expenses. There isn't tipping fees.
No, I'm
Those
saying
dollars.
that tons collected is January through May.
Yes.
Yes, that's all that gives you your numbers that you got on the back.
looking.
We should maybe let Hillsborough haul their own stuff to recycling, and the rest of the county's not doing enough to justify it. I hope they can at once.
Well, I'm just looking at it as there's a solid waste fee already. So if we weren't doing any recycling, we would be throwing it all into the trash and it all would be going there, so it all would be covered. So it's taking it out of the trash and putting it somewhere else. And so part of that fee should already be calculated into all this.
It's worth that 13,000.
But you're going on 38, is that the correct amount? I mean, that's what we're paying.
Yeah.
Plus
Yeah.
transportation.
Plus transportation and stuff like that too, so.
So yeah, I guess the balance, the difference is a little bit less than 82 because of
We're paying
the other.
fuel costs on $120 ton of trash.
Oh, yeah, so
It's 6 to 1, half dozen.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I mean, our decision is, can we afford to be politically correct?
I think we can if we can all move in the same direction. I mean, that's what this meeting is, if we can find a solution. I'm not looking to them to cover 100% of the recycling. I'm just looking if we can get some help as far as filling the balance.
And that's the $82 difference, is what you're going to fill.
Yeah. That way we don't just shut it off, I mean. And it's a benefit to them, because if we just shut it off, it would be $120, because they've already pledged to continue it. They're going to do it. So,
Yes, they would pay instead of us.
yeah, but they would also be paying 120 instead of 82, and that's all we really need to fill the balance.
The sheet doesn't include any rural people?
Yeah, no, the rural.
I guess you couldn't really calculate that too much. They go to those different cities apparently.
Yeah, and then you see your, and that's part of the other thing, is Hillsborough has increased theirs from years prior, because when we stopped taking from Gossel, there's outer area people that would come to the water tower and contribute, and they've been bringing it here for them.
Mr. Chairman, I was just going to mention something like that. The recycling center that we have on the water tower, as you just mentioned, is open to people outside the specific Hillsborough community, city limit. That, you know, in a sense, we do have citizens that are specifically under your care, custody, and control using that recycling facility. So you know, we're glad to continue to use that. We're glad to use give people an opportunity to recycle. But I would just say that maybe not 100% of that number belongs to the city of Hillsborough, but I don't know what that difference ought to be.
Right. So there is a variable that needs to be figured in there.
Mr. Payne, do you have any projection on what is curbside pickup of that number and what is from your recycling center?
Yeah, but they.
I would say right off the top that maybe 95% of it would be curbside. Less than that? Okay. Dale's giving me some ideas that might be less than that, so we're gonna say.
Yeah, their 80 is probably a little better guess.
Dale is suggesting that 80% is curbside and coming out of the recycling center.
Thank you.
So, saying that we go forward, is there any way that you can keep track of the difference? Or is that too?
Yeah, we can weigh the recycle center, pick it up, and just weigh off the schedule fill
Okay.
and then weigh again, load it before we go.
Yeah. I don't know whether you heard Dale,
Yeah.
he said basically, yes, we can.
Okay.
We'd wait, go up.
Because, you know, no matter how this thing shakes out, I want it to be fair, no matter what.
Sure.
I don't know that 100% would be all country. If you got a lot of cardboard and stuff, why the city folks run, well, we got big bins down there, we'll just take it down there too, so. You know, I don't know what the percent is, I still see a lot of people use that under the water tower. I just was marking lines there a couple weeks ago and saw people using it, so.
And then I do, and I don't know where they come from, but I do see people out back from my place throwing stuff into the dumpsters that are, but maybe they're just somebody local, or maybe there's somebody out, I don't know.
Does Hillsborough still have an option with McPherson like he used to, or is that a done deal, and whether it's ever been looked at lately?
No, when we started our recycling process here, we gave McPherson notice that we were not going to take our recycling there any longer. So all of our recycling from that point went directly to the Marion transfer station. Now, when you all had the issue with Fort Riley, I had a conversation with McPherson to have that as an option to take recycling to them, but we did not do that because Marion County was able to reestablish something with Fort Riley, or some other entity. I'm not sure exactly what, but that was mid-February when that happened.
I'm just looking at this, whether we would, all of us would have an option to take the McPherson. I don't know what they're doing with theirs, recycling.
Last I heard, they're basically no more transfer station, taking it on to Hutch.
Okay.
Last I heard, I can't guarantee any of that.
Is Josh on
Yeah, Josh is on here.
there? Josh,
Yes.
have you had any conversation lately with Fort Riley to see, if they are planning on ramping up again, or?
No, I haven't. I was actually thinking about that. We was talking about that. I need to call and talk to them and see if they're going to open up again or what's going on.
Okay. Because that would certainly weigh into anything we would want to do if we could get them to start taking it
That
again.
was on the screen.
Yeah.
Can you try to call them now and see if they can contact anybody, or is it too late?
Yeah, I can give them a call now and see if I can get a hold of somebody and let you know.
That would be helpful.
Okay, I will do that.
John Hawkins, the guy you want to talk to. Oh, Fort Riley, okay.
Well, it looks to me, just looking at these overall figures, that Hillsboro's at 104 ton, or maybe 105 rounded up a little bit. Marion is at 20.78, transfer station 19, and if you add up all those other ones from Gosel to elementary is 22. So the average there is about 21 tons at those other areas. So that would mean that Hillsborough is about 60% more than the others.
But those other places is not active right now.
Yeah, those other places won't contribute anymore until we put dumpsters back out there.
Okay,
So
okay,
that-
I was just using these figures to see where
Right.
the money went to. So none of those will contribute?
None of them.
The only one that's contributing is Hillsborough?
Transfer station, Marion, and Hillsborough.
Okay. Well, you still have the same synopsis there too, because you got 19.40 and 20, so you still have Hillsborough right at 61%. Pretty close off the top of my head.
63.
63, thank you.
63.6 to be more precise.
Round it off.
Well, no matter what, I can just give you the background. When we started this, we didn't know where it was going, what it was gonna do. Everything was going pretty good, getting a little money back and stuff like that, but now we've been presented with this deficit here. And I think Joan is probably on a good track here to figure out the difference. And if Hillsborough wants to continue, I'd be more than willing to see how that goes, to pick it up. Just that I don't think we can continue to charge the rest of the county for recycling when it's not an active part of it, even though that's not the correct way, not the good attitude to have, but sort of put you in that position. And we're all, you guys, as Hillsborough especially, has spent a lot of money on cans and things like that, and we've spent a lot of money on trailers and dumpsters and trucks and trailers. So we've all spent some money to try doing this, and now we're thrown in a, I don't know, I guess into jail maybe. I don't know how you want to say it, but it's just not good for any of us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just throwing down some rough figures here, but so if based on the $82 difference, you know, that's kind of where my brain is, where I'm stuck with. The Hillsborough's contribution would be $20,563, but you take 80% of that, that would bring it down to $16,450 roughly. Marion's contribution, these are over a 12-month period. I'm taking 5 months, dividing it down by 5, multiplying it back by 12. That's how I'm getting that. Then Marion would be somewhere around just shy of $4,100. What I guess I question is, do either one of the cities have that capability or budget built in to pay that kind of sum?
Give me those numbers again.
Marion would be just shy of $4,100.
Okay.
And Hillsborough was $20,563, but if they're only contributing 80% within the city and the rest is coming in on the water tower, that would be $16,450.
Mr. Chairman, I would say that I have that flexibility in our sanitation budget.
Okay. How about Roger?
I really don't have that built in. I'm sure that the council could look at it, perhaps adjust rates. But given the quantity of material and the fuel, I mean, I'm spending more in fuel to pick up 4,000 pounds, or 4 tons, 8,000 pounds, which financially isn't sustainable on a long term.
Okay. There's a whole lot of difference though between Marion and Hillsborough. Marion's right here, so we still may see, if we put recycle bins out, we may see it. If not, we're gonna see the trash anyway. That's just a given fact of what we're gonna see. And again, when we started this, was the question who's concerned is do the cities continue to have the people pick up at that, and yet it go to where we just, you know, either get rid of it or something like that, when they could be doing it on their trash routes.
But it sounds like Roger's having, other than the $4,100, is a logistical issue within the city. Not logistical, the financial, where it may not be feasible on just the city's part.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, in order to sustain the curbside pickup, I'm having to run a trash truck, pick it all up on Wednesdays, hold it until Friday morning, and then have drivers set and wait in line to unload. So that's why I've got the added challenge behind the recycling.
So is there a potential that Marion would halt their recycling altogether?
I mean, that was a question I had. I mean, going forward, we know recycling's a good thing, but does Marion and Hillsborough both want to continue it when we know that you know, it's going to cost additional bucks to do it, and you know, the county's it's going to cause us some pain if we have to continue to pay that $120 a ton. So I know Hillsborough's got a big investment in it, but I also know that some of the larger cities, well, Salina closed their recycle center on March the 31st.
Butler County already did too, didn't we?
I don't know. I just know about Salina.
I don't know about it for you. I don't know what Employee's doing now. They have a big.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I talked to Fort Riley, and they're still not taking any, and they don't know when they'll open up to take any recycling.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Rapid.
You're welcome.
Bye. Other thing. So, Josh, one more question for you. You say when you're hauling recyclables, it's 12 to 14 ton?
Yeah, it averages, depends on, you know, how much we can get packed in there. So it's anywhere from 12 to 14, sometimes a little more.
Okay. So just the volume coming in from Hillsborough is a truck on the I don't know, the average side, I'll say at 13 tons. And so you're getting a truckload every month, and then half a truckload. So a truckload and a half every month.
Josh, this is Dave. Is there much waiting time on Friday mornings on recycle day, or how is the crowd?
I think everybody gets in and out pretty quick for the recycling. Sometimes I know Hillsborough, they can come in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes they're later in the morning, but it seems like everybody gets in and out pretty quick.
It seemed like I was down there Friday afternoon, and there were 3 garbage trucks and about 6 pickups with trailers waiting, because they couldn't dump in the morning. So I don't think they got done Friday. I think they just went home and left it piled there because they couldn't pack it in the afternoon.
Yeah, I know they get real busy in the afternoons after recycling for the trash.
So what I'm getting at is kind of backs up our process to do special recycling in the morning when they don't have that much business. We can only do one or the other.
Right.
If we could go 2 different directions, it'd be all right. But
You might take in consideration, I asked our advisor down there at the, what's Colby? No, not Colby, the guy that's in charge of our recycling building. What's his name? Anyway, I asked him when the finish date might be, and he's thinking maybe September or October.
You're talking Cody.
Cody, yeah.
Cody.
Yeah, Cody. Trying to think of his name, Cody, yeah. I've got Cody on the phone, but this one's not the right one. But anyway, so October, maybe September, October might be a finish date. Then things will change. I mean, we'll have a bigger floor. There won't be no more sitting and waiting.
We can go two different directions then?
Well, it's
You can.
And Hillsborough could unload on Wednesday then?
Oh, there should be a holding spot over there in our building, yeah.
Yeah, they were supposed to be built a little ducked-in area up on the floor for the recycling.
Right.
You know, I kind of had a discussion with Josh a little bit about it here and there, just to making sure that he sees that is working. It definitely, now is the time to make sure it's right before it gets completely built in for that cavity. That's also added expense that we put into the building to accommodate these things that, you know, will all be for nothing since everything's there, it's been designed.
But trucks to get them in and out should be.
Yeah, they can push it up against this barrier wall from the way I saw the plan.
Of course, you know, this month we got lots of roofers too, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there was another backlog of just backup of lots of activity.
Yes. It's a very busy place this month.
Well, I guess the question then, if we're gonna continue this,
Who's paying for it?
I mean, we know that the county can't continue to sustain this. We've been doing it all the way through. Of course, we were required to through the pandemic. But going forward, you know, if it's in the city's and everybody else's best interest to continue to recycle, how can we work together to make it work? So it mainly comes down to dollars and cents in the end.
I just throw out this, and that's where my brain's been, and I've been trying to just $82 a ton.
And have them pay for that?
No matter where it comes from. If Marion wants to shut off their recycling, they will shut off their $82 a ton. If Hillsborough wants to continue, they can pay the $82 a ton. If they can separate their recycling center stuff and keep a track record of it and not be responsible for that, and we'll have to work out those details.
So your proposal is then to have Hillsborough and Marion, or each, whichever.
Or even if
combination.
Even if one of these outer areas want that dumpster back,
They would pay the $82
if they were willing to
a
pay
ton.
the $82 a ton.
No, I don't think so. At the outside centers, because we've got trucking, we've got other stuff we gotta cover too, to get the dumpsters out there for, are we gonna?
That's when these dollars come into play.
Yeah,
And
but I mean, if you wanna send one to Gossel and you're just gonna charge them $82.
yeah, it's gonna have to add in the fuel. You're gonna have to add
Some
in the
fuel. I mean,
Yeah, you're right. You're gonna have to make, because they're bringing it.
Yeah.
So that should be 82.
Hillsborough's bringing it.
If we're delivering a device for them to bring it, then we would have to have a delivery fee.
Yeah, see what it costs.
Added into that 82. You're right.
So is that are those type of fees workable under the city's budget, I guess? Don't everybody speak at once.
Everybody's got a muted microphone right now.
Well, Refuge is operated as a for-profit business. There's no tax support to it. you know, it's gonna be the desire of council based on the county's decision as to what price. And then the other question that I must ask, are you going to continue to have a recycling bin available at the transfer station?
That's exactly what we need to decide. I mean, that's another good point, Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah, without any way to monitor where that is coming from or which direction that's coming from, we really can't. Somebody's going to have to take ownership of it for it to be there.
And I'm even thinking of the center and under the water tower.
Mhm.
Is Hillsborough going to continue that? Or are they going to drop it just to their truck service and bring that in, which would drop their bill some, most likely, if they said it's 20% or something coming from there or something.
They could wait until they pick up the recycling center there.
Yeah, they can do that too.
Yeah, but somebody's got to cover that.
Somebody's got to cover
that extra.
It's gonna be the county.
Right, and then that's,
Just like business, the owner always gets short end of the stick.
yeah, there's always some,
We
they'll
just
find a
get part of it,
workaround.
yeah.
I mean, I don't want to charge Hillsborough, Marion sitting over here at the dumpster right at the transfer station for recycling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just make it fair for everybody. But yet I don't want to charge Tampa and Peabody and Burns for recycling when they're all set at $100 a house. I mean, the business is higher.
Well, just like a C&D, I mean, but the problem is the set in dumpsters, that you can't just make it like a C&D.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be 100% perfect, whatever we do.
What can we do to get the closest?
Well, we gotta cover our expenses on top of the 120.
And that's not to say, I mean, if we get some sort of rebate or kickback from Fort Riley, then we can't pass that back along.
I mean,
if we get bonus, they should get bonus.
When there's actually some revenue for it, we have to revisit the whole thing anyway. We don't know if that's gonna be, it doesn't look like it's gonna be in the near future, but, you know, recycling is still something that's on people's minds, and hopefully someday we'll get back to where, you know, that can at least be a break-even venture. I mean, I guess I'm willing to eat a few bucks of it on the county side. You started out at 82. I don't know, could we live with it at 75?
You still got expenses of driving.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, no, it should be 95 instead of 80 to make sure go the other way.
Well, that's right.
We're still
But I
losing
mean-
money.
I mean, if we as a county says that recycling is still is important, then we have to contribute to it too. It's either that or everybody shut down.
I've thought about this for a while, so I mean, like I said, somehow, some way, I'm not going to fight it on a total dollar issue. Thought long and hard and tried to make it as most fair in my mind as I could, and that's the $82 amount.
Two trips a month is what we're looking at. If Hillsborough was the only town to continue.
Trip and a half, yeah.
Or a trip and a half, but if you can hold it, if you got room to hold it,
Yeah.
that's fine to hold it, but if you don't have room to hold it, some months it's gonna be two, no matter what.
So in order to make a full load,
Yeah, there's no use going half loads, but somewhere there's gonna be two, every other month, maybe, if that's the way it figures, a month and a half, or load and a half a month. But, you know, cost of that for us is truck expense and driver expense. Hutchison's what, 75 miles here?
Hutch is,
70 miles from here.
I can make it there in 45 minutes from Hillsborough.
It's gonna take you $3 a mile to run that truck up down the road.
Yeah, so you're spending at least $250, $300 a month.
It's 150 miles round trip. Gonna burn up a $500 bill.
Yeah,
per
so you're,
load.
so at 82, you're already eating, so.
Yeah, we're already, I mean, but that, I can go along with some of that too, if that's what they want to do to continue, I mean, but I'm also, I just don't, if I could see a future that this recycling would come back. What about cardboard? I mean, we haven't talked that cardboard makes money somewhere, I don't know where.
Cardboard does, glass does, aluminum cans do, but they all have to be separated.
Separated, yeah.
The one thing that I know is just a death trap on recycling is plastic bottles. Plastics, no.
So then I asked the question, we're getting ready to go into budget, and with all these things that we're increasing, and with all the wish list coming before us, and everything in the departments that I see so far is increasing, how's everybody gonna feel when the county comes and says, oh, we gotta raise the taxes? What kind of repercussion are we gonna then get? Because we're gonna hear that too.
And that's what I'm trying to avoid
Yeah.
by still allowing the service, but
Right.
trying to get back to a break-even spot.
And I appreciate that, and I'm looking at just this right here now too, but I have to also remember, we're gonna be looking at a big picture here pretty soon, it's gonna have this same situation times 20. And so,
Right.
I've just been there a couple of years in a row now, and know how that
But
works.
if we delete the recycling altogether and say the rest of the communities don't decide to keep recycling, we're gonna have increased tipping fees and have no reimbursement. Because that will go into trash. All those tons will become trash.
Mhm.
You're still gonna pay that $38.
$38.
So, and your volume will increase.
Plus, if it ever gets to where we would decide to recycle again, it'd take another year or two to get her going again.
Yeah.
On top of that.
Yeah, but I don't mind paying that $38 versus $120. I mean, that's just what we have to do by statute, we have to
Yes.
provide trash pickup,
And-
so, and 38 to me sounds pretty good.
And technically, by getting the 82 reimbursed, we're still paying the 38.
Mhm. And I'm okay with that at this point.
And then it's the same amount of volume, we're still spending the same amount of dollars for the same amount of tons. We're just getting help on the recycling part.
I'd certainly be leaning that way rather than shutting it off.
With that, 2 trips, or whatever we was talking about, at 500, if it goes that high, how many tons does that pay for? Just off your head, $40 a ton, or just figure it up at 30.
60 miles, what is it, El Dorado, it's 38.
But the extra, what I'm getting at is the extra expense for recycling, going that way. If it's costing us X amount a month, for those amount of tons, if we see 26 tons here, well, that extra expense that we pay in trucking would have paid for the recycling to put it over.
Still have that trucking expense for this recycling or regular
Well,
trash.
I understand, but that's extra.
You'll have a difference. There's still a difference in some mileage.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at.
Right, there's a difference of size.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the mindset of everybody that's used to recycling and now all of a sudden they're mind, oh, wait a minute, it's going in the trash anyway. And to change that mindset after a year or two takes another year or two.
We've been working on this for quite a few years in
Yeah.
recycling. I mean, I will say Dan Holland was the instigator. I was not an instigator. I knew that we had recycling, single recycling, but then when we went to single stream recycling, it was so much easier. The public likes it. Everybody likes it. But somebody's got to separate it, as you said, when when it comes back to the other end, somebody's gotta recycle it, or re-separate it to get some money out of it.
Somebody's separating it and then taking the,
So the bottom line is we need to see if the two cities are willing to pay that kind of money, or what they're willing to pay. So then we would know rather, because no matter what we're willing to do, if they're not willing to go along with it or can't, then what we're willing to do is irrelevant.
well,
So I think we need to get something
Yeah.
from the cities first to see what,
yeah.
they kind of have an idea of where we need to be, and see what they can do.
So, Larry,
I'm sorry, we were having a conversation over here.
It's all right.
is that even something that's doable at $82 a ton? Are you?
We would look favorably at the $82 a ton.
Roger? I know you said that.
I have to defer an answer until I've had a chance to bring it before my council.
Right. I mean, it is what it is how we make it work, right? It's $82 a ton. They can choose to bring it or not bring it.
Right.
We've already set the mindset in the rest of our county, Ken. I mean,
Took the trailers away.
yeah.
Yeah, in the rural area, small towns, it's, but I have had a lot of people that have called me and asked what to do with it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
whether they have or not.
Because they want to do the right thing, just like the rest of us do.
And maybe some have and some
Yeah.
haven't.
Okay. Well, I would be in favor of making the tonnage for recycling $82 a ton. That's what we have to take it.
We'll have to act on it
At the next meeting, because we can't take any official action right now.
Well, that gives a chance for the Marion and Hillsborough to discuss that with their city councils.
Yeah.
And then how will we separate Marion with it being right here? How will we handle that one?
They wait when it comes in.
No, talking about the dumpsters is what she's getting at.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
dumpster sitting outside from the transfer
Yeah.
station.
Exactly.
Yeah, that, we'll have to address that.
That's a separate issue
That's
almost in
within-
itself.
That would be ours almost.
Yeah. We'd almost have to.
Because people come from
Everywhere.
Alling, they come from long ways away to dump in there.
Okay, if it's our decision, then right here in Marion, my vote's to, not to have a recycling center set, not to have it sitting out there. It would all go to trash.
That would solve that problem.
Let them dump it in the
Yeah,
recycling.
I don't see how we can put one out there.
I just don't
I
see
mean,
it.
there would be
And if Hillsborough wants to do the one underneath the water tower.
That's their choice.
That's their choice.
yeah, if they keep track of that, that's great. That's great.
But
Who's paying for it?
What's that?
Who's paying for that? If it's still collected under the water tower, is Hillsborough paying or the county paying?
that would be the same as
Right here.
the one sitting
Yeah,
outside the transfer.
That's what I see anyway.
Well, at this point, Hillsborough's taking responsibilities for it, so they'd have to discuss whether they
What they
want
want.
to
Yeah.
keep it there or
Yeah.
not.
Right.
They may want to pull that.
So what you're saying is that the county would not be paying for it, that would be up to them.
Yeah, if they want to continue with that
If they want
over
to
there.
continue with it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Like you said, I can appreciate everybody just hearing me out, making it work somehow, some way.
Okay, 3 years from now, what are we gonna sit here and say? We may not, none of us four may not be sitting here, there may be, can't go 2 years from now.
It might be.
Maybe a whole new audience here 3 years from now. What do you think we'll be talking about then? We don't know, there's nobody can tell. We'll still be talking about getting rid of trash and how to do it safely and economically. And I hope that recycling's in the ballgame then, but I can't guarantee you.
Okay, I got, I know there's no public comments, but somebody said something about, speaking to the mics. Okay, well, I think that unless anybody else, Larry or Roger, you have anything else to add before we conclude this portion? We'll probably look to take in some sort of action next meeting.
We're fine with you taking some action next week. Go ahead, Roger.
Well, I just want a clarification. If Hillsborough is going to continue their drop-off recycling center, would a drop-off recycling center for Marion be an option? And if so, we would be paying the $82 per ton regardless of who uses it. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah.
No.
No, if it's not your, we can only deal with our own dumpsters. If we choose to put our dumpster out, then that's a bill we're going to have to
We'd have to eat that.
If you guys were to choose to put out your own dumpster, that would be your choice.
Thank you for the clarification.
Mr. Chairman, I think in regard to the answer that you just gave to Roger, that it makes sense that if Roger doesn't put out recycling bins for folks around the Marion community, then we should not do the same thing. And it becomes a problem for citizens that fall under your banner rather than ours. And I would think that both Hillsborough and Marion are contributing to the well-being of the communities that are surrounding, the residents surrounding our specific city limits, and that we're taking care of those customers who are technically yours. I would think that being able to handle the recycling aspects of those folks would be similar to, I think maybe you'll consider putting recycling bins in Hillsborough and Marion that are your responsibilities for those out-of-city limit citizens. In the absence of that, we're still going to continue to have people come into town and put recycling in our bins. And we think that, that you ought to cover, at least part of that. I don't see treating in one way and Hillsborough a different way. But I do see that, there is an advantage of folks using recycling bins in both communities. Part of the conversation we've had here in our understanding of what happens in Marion is that there are a number of people who don't use the curbside recycling there because it's really convenient to throw that stuff in their car, drive over to the transfer station, and drop it off. And so there's an advantage to having a transfer station in the city of Marion that we don't have. And I think that it's quite possible that Marion's collection numbers reflect that. Bottom line, is it still important to do the recycling? Yes, it is. And I think that I would just submit that that Marion needs the recycling containers just as much as we do. And if you paid for them and put them in outside Marion for those customers, then the recycling bins that we have here at the the little water tower, could and should be considered a Marion County expense. But at this point, that's kind of where I think the thing ought to be. Thank you.
Yeah, my last statement was trying to frame my thoughts. Maybe it was trying to make sure that things were fair between, but I guess it's something that we're gonna have to consider and think about on what we want to do with the dumpsters.
Larry, right now, if you pay the $82 for the continue the recycling, besides the county taking the trucking and taking care of that, you're charging your customers, your citizens in Hillsborough to use that service. So why wouldn't you want to charge the people that come and use the water tower a fee?
I don't know that we pay any extra fees.
Well, if they pay the $82 a ton to recycle, they're going to be having an extra fee somewhere.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be paying it. It's going to be tax dollars.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying that maybe if you want that water tower deal, why wouldn't those people want to pay something too to use the water tower recycling center?
Commissioner Dalkey, I think the problem with that is that we don't have a ticket gate on the recycling center over there to be able to manage it in that particular fashion. We know who's come through because we see addresses and that sort of stuff and the recycling material that gets put there, in boxes and that sort of thing. I think it's going to be really difficult for us to turn around and say, well, if you live in Marion County and want to use this recycling center, we're going to charge you X amount of dollars to do that. And it's unethical to be able to manage the traffic in and out of there and have somebody pay a fee for that. But when people voluntarily come in, drop that off, that's a different thing.
The mechanics of that just don't work.
You can take the recycle center out and then you don't have to worry about it.
That's right.
I mean, I'm sorry.
That's
We're,
right.
we're trying to do something, make it fair for both towns here. And it's not easy to do any of this because we'd like to recycle. But somebody has to make some decisions somewhere to make sure that all bills are paid and we move on down the line and be happy with it. And I think Jonah's deal with $82 is probably one of the best suggestions we've had so far to take care of it, to keep you guys recycling if that's what you want to do. And we'll pick the trucking up and go from there. But I just see that I don't want recycling here available to people that we'd have to charge you for or something, or we wouldn't have to. But if we're gonna, do we want to pick recycling up here in Marion and pay the $100 or pay the extra money, the extra $80 ourselves? When I can't do that all over the county, remember, we got to look from border to border, not just in our little city limits.
Well, I think I was trying to be the most fair as possible with what I said before. And it doesn't mean that the dumpsters can't come back into play later
Sometime,
on.
yeah.
Correct. Right now, I see, let's just try to keep it alive at the $82 a ton, no matter who brings it in. We can try to work out more satellite, more other things when other opportunities present themselves. And we can, let's just not let it die.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of just shutting it off. I mean, the communities have pretty sizable investments in doing that and have educated their citizenry.
And that's worth a bunch, Ken. I'm not going to say it's not, because I was a city council member when we was doing it, started at Peabody. I watched every bit of it start and how you have to get out and do what Hillsborough did, get out and push to get people to do what you're supposed to do. That's very, very true.
I'm happy with the $82. I mean, I would be willing to do that, and then we bite the bullet on the transportation, and I hope that the cities appreciate the fact that that's a big chunk. That's not just chicken feed. We're gonna be eating a lot of money there to provide the service, if we pick all that up. So I think we've done our share, and I think if we wanna make it work, we all need to give a little.
This is the only place I've ever lived that had recycling, that didn't just rub me wrong. I mean, the way it's done here, the way it's professionally done, people go the extra mile. I mean, everywhere else I moved away from was recycling, and stoplights were my biggest enemies. I mean, they always seem to bite so hard, and I just see what's going on here. We have good people here, and I think we need to continue treating our people as much as we can.
That'll be each city's decision. By the time if we get that $82 set, then it'll be each city's decision what they want to do.
We'll just have to take action on it and move forward.
And like I said, we can always readdress the dumpsters.
Oh,
I hope we do, because there's the outer communities that want it.
Yeah, well, this is an ongoing issue. It won't stop, so.
Yeah, when we get the new location up and running, and next December, we can stop and look and see what's going on.
That's a good point.
Because we don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
Supposed to be done in September, but you know, I'd say December, we'll make some decisions after we run it for 30 days.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, I'd really like to thank both administrators for helping and shaping some decisioning. I know Roger's got to get ready for a council meeting, so go ahead and move on to.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Roger. Larry, this next piece we have to discuss with you anyway, so go on to the Hillsborough EMS lot.
John, I want to start this off.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, let me introduce Ben Steck. Ben has been working on the on that project, and he's done quite a bit of work here that I want to just use this as a process to update the commission, so that you know where we've come and what we've done up to date. So I'm going to turn the thing over to Ben, if you don't mind.
Ben, ask one question. Do you have any PDFs that you're wanting to display or show?
I don't.
Okay. Then I was just going to check with Tina to make sure if we need to do any kind of screen share or something. So, all right.
No.
Randy, do you need?
I'll let Dan.
We have, we talked about, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, Hillsborough desires to have the EMS building built in Hillsborough, so we have got to some effort to determine what we think would be a good spot for that, to harmonize with our future plans for building a safety center, which includes a new fire station, a new police station. We believe that it's best to have all those entities in the same building or location. And so we have found a spot over by the old AMPI building on that corner lot there that we believe is a good spot. I visited with Travis Parmalee about it, and so I think location isn't what's in question. I think what's in question is some of the details about the lease agreement, because that's, if I understand correctly, that's where we're at now. Are the commissioners thinking they're going to start construction soon, or are we just talking about where the construction may take place?
I think
yes.
All of the above. The thought is we'd like to have the property so that we can get moving without so much coordination, I think. So it would be the lease and the property, so that way when we have the means to pull the trigger, we can do it.
I see. Mr. Chair, in that regard, what we're doing right now, our city attorney, Josh Bain, is crafting lease documents, and he is working with your county councilor, or whatever his title is, Brad Chance, to develop a document that puts all of the conditions that need to be addressed into a document that would go to you and then to our city council.
I think Randy has a question, I know directed at the lease.
Yeah. When we sat here 3-4 months ago, and I don't know what date that meeting was, I didn't look to see what the meeting date was. We had originally intended to do the same thing we'd done in Marion. Go out, there was empty buildings sitting around, and there was one over there that was, well, there's two over there that was prime candidates. Either the blue one, which is the old Reimer building, or the gun shop. That's what we originally intended to do, the same thing in the city of Hillsborough at no cost to the city of Hillsborough to do that. So then when we come back to the meeting after some hassle and things with not wanting us there, and that's not the way it was meant to be. I know that comment was not meant that way, but the city of Marion has opened their arms with what we did, and so we was trying to do the same in the city of Hillsborough. Now when you get to the lease deal, we sat and hassled over that building that day, and I heard from 2 different commissioners that there was a lot of reasons why that we shouldn't do it. So I could see we was not going to get nowhere, and I can tell you anybody, and I've told a couple of commissioners, that that's why I changed my mind and agreed to go with where you wanted us to be, up there at the AMPI building. I made the motion. I thought I included that we have control of the property, but it's right in our minutes that it's not. For somehow, maybe I was a little excited when I made it, I'm not going to say. I still do not see why that 40 years from now anybody wants control over what we do as a building. So that's how the lease deal come up, I think. And correct me, Jonah, did you mention the lease when we was in the meeting that day? Okay. I think that's
something about, well, what led to it was I think I proposed something like a 99-year lease. And then Roger corrected me and said, no, from a city municipality, it falls into a 40, so.
Something to that effect.
So I don't know what limitations
So
there.
that's a restriction on years.
Yeah, so that's where we're at with the lease. I personally, I don't want to tie commissioners down. We've had agreements, and then 25, 30 years, 40, 50 years later, they seem to get into some arguments or just things that we cannot do as a commission, and it just ties us down. And that's why I was wanting separate piece of property and meet your guidelines. If it was a 16-foot skyline you wanted, then that would be fine if that's what you wanted to see out of our building or whatever it may be. But I keep hearing, you know, all the different things, so I guess it is time to get it down to the paper, and if that's what you're going to do, we just want to see some action, because we wasn't seeing no action. And we wanted to get it, the motion was to do it in 2021, which would be January, and that January is going to be coming up pretty short, 6 months from now. And so that's why where we're at as far as I'm concerned, you know, to hear what you want us to do, and so that we can design a building. I think Kent may get us a rendering so that we could look at it and take a look at what we can put on the property for this 40 by 80 that was designed, or not designed, but that's what Travis originally said we needed. And so that's where we're at, and if any commissioner has any different opinion, please chime right in, because, I mean, we're looking to do something good, we want to do something good, and we want to get it done. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mayor Lou.
Lou.
You know, to Randy's point about long-term agreements, I guess I would say we've been somewhat naive over the years here in Hillsborough, because we just felt like it was in everybody's best interest to collaborate, cooperate, and we've been housing the ambulance here in our facilities for how many years? Does anybody know?
Since it started.
You know, at no cost to the county. You know, the city of Hillsborough has provided numerous EMS volunteers, EMTs, whatever the proper terminology is, you know, to keep the ambulance going. And I recognize that in more recent times that we've needed to go to a more professional crew, and we're certainly supportive of that. But you know, we never had an agreement with the county. We just thought it was the right thing to do to house the ambulance. Now, other cities in the county, we've come to find out, you know, had other arrangements with the county, and we're getting paid, you know, $20,000 a year comes to mind, but I don't know if that's correct or not. But you know, the city of Hillsboro's foregone any revenue from the county in that regard, because it's the right thing to do. And all we're trying to do here is to continue this collaboration and cooperation, because emergency services don't operate in a vacuum. Ambulance crews don't go out where they're not interacting with our police department or our fire department. And it just seems to me that having them co-located and working together, training potentially together, that makes a lot of sense to me. So, you know, in terms of wanting this thing to be done right, that's what we want. And we're a little bit at a loss to understand why the county doesn't see the advantage to that continued collaboration. So that's all I've got.
Lou, I'd like to correct you in one statement you made, and like to tell you about the other 4 ambulances in Marion County. As long as I've been around, about 40 years, a lot longer than most people's been in government or anything else, that nobody pays for their ambulance in their town. I mean, nobody gets paid for that. It's every one of the ambulances in our county is due just like Hillsborough, no different. They're usually in the fire stations where the firemen are. It's just been something in Marion County that's been that way, and nobody gets paid, Lou. I think there's some utilities every once in a while paid for.
So you're telling me that Marion never got paid to house the ambulance?
No.
I'm close.
Right. No.
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 It's never. There was an agreement that they built the building over here, and we had a hassle when we got to that, but Marion was they was very happy to get out of the agreement so they could have the building back when we wanted out of it to go to another building.
Did they get $1 a year or something like that, or not even that?
Yeah.
It was a 99 year, wasn't it?
99-year lease.
It was a 99-year lease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was allowed to be at 99 years.
Yeah, that one was back, I don't know what, gosh, it was, we saw the date on it.
20 years ago.
Just trying to figure out why it changed.
Yeah, I don't know.
99 year
Times.
lease.
No, Lou, there's never been nothing like that going on, and that seems to keep coming up, and I know of every town that has an ambulance in them has just been tickled to death to have the ambulance, and they're proud of it, and we understand that. But there's never been, Florence took it upon themselves, built a whole station upon themselves to do it, back when they was running 2 ambulances out of there.
You know, here's the thing, Randy, whether you're getting hung up on this lease or not, you know, we've already agreed that we would be putting in the utilities and the site work and all this stuff. You know, so we've done nothing but try to cooperate and collaborate through this whole thing. So, you know, anybody that would suggest that we're not trying to do our part to make this thing work and work right, I'm going to take issue with that.
Okay, I can accept that. Then at that point in time, then you don't want nothing to do with us 40 years from now then. You're trying to do it right now.
Wow, Randy, I'm kind of shocked to hear that coming out of you, so I don't get it.
It's a difference in what chairs you sit in. I'm sorry, it is.
This is Dave Crowfoot. I think we all need to back up a little bit. Mostly what I think the commissioners want to know is what do you want the outside of the building to look like? Because we can match that. Whereas we want lines on the ground where this is going to be placed at.
That was offered to us.
That was offered to us.
Yes.
We'd like to know, location. Somebody takes a yellow can of paint, puts 4 flags up the corners, so we actually see where. And then we need an agreement, whatever's legal, 40 years, 99 years, 60 years. We're not trying to tip for tat, we just we'll match what you want on the rest of the buildings. We'll make our door the same size that you project for your doors later on. Now, am I speaking, everybody got it?
No, not me.
Not? We want different size doors?
Oh, I'm not talking about the doors.
Okay. Well, I think there's nothing to fight about, we just need to get it done, because we're ready to move on, we have the budget, and we want to expand our service in Hillsborough, but we don't have room, so we need a new building. I'm done.
So may I, in my opinion now?
We got Diane was about to speak.
So I've been thinking about this long and hard this last couple of weeks and months, and here's my problem. So, as a county, we need to be looking to providing the service to the county and do it as financially responsible as we can. And in in Marion here, we purchased this building over here for what, $160,000, something like that.
Yes, cost. Yep.
Okay. And now the building that we were going to buy over in Hillsborough is, well, it was going to be 150, but now it's up to almost 300,000, give or take. And we're still leaving areas, Peabody, Burns, up north, etc., over there, vacant or void. My suggestion is that we need to back up and rethink, and I'm just going to throw this out. I really think that a long time ago we had a brilliant idea, and that was we need to be looking at Canton. If we're going to spend $300,000, Canada, I'm sorry. If we're going to spend
We don't really want to go
$300,000,
and bait McPherson.
I am so sorry. I'm sorry. But I'm sitting here just, we're going to spend, that's a huge investment. We can build a nice station right smack dab in the middle of our county, and everybody is treated fairly. Distance, we measured that out before. It's very close. It would be more efficient for our workers, our equipment, the amount of trucks we need, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. As a county, I think we have a responsibility to the people to spend this money wisely and efficiently, and to build a $300,000 EMS just in Hillsborough, which would be a nice Taj Mahal to fill in with their little project that they're building. But where is that going to get? Is Peabody going to get one? No. Is the rest of the county going to get one? No. And we're still going to have deficiencies. Why don't we just rethink, back up, and think about what we can do with our dollars and provide the service to our county more equally and fairly? That's where I think we need to go. I mean, I would really like to have one over there in Hillsborough, but I really don't like the bickering, and I don't like the way it's going on, and I really don't think we're benefiting the whole county by putting such a lovely building over and spending that kind of tax dollars just in that little corner of the county. That's my thoughts.
Okay. I just want to chime in, and I'm more along the lines with here with Dave. I mean, I don't think we need to squabble and bicker. I think we just need to get a legal, and we just need to know what we're dealing with. And that's just so the ball is still moving forward.
I've spoke with Lou multiple times about this, and I'm a little different. I really feel like that, being able to have a facility alongside police and fire has to have benefits. But yeah, we're gonna have to, you know, if we can get a legal, and if we can get some kind of rendition that we can look at to where we can actually put some cost to it, you know, we're saying 300,000. Maybe, you know, we might have to, we may have to do something a little more economical. That doesn't mean it wouldn't match what Hillsborough has plans for in the future, but something that we could work with that doesn't just cripple us. Because, you know, what Diane says makes a lot of sense, but you're gonna have so much backlash from the cities if you pull the ambulance out of their towns.
But we'd still be providing excellent service.
Yeah.
In fact, more efficient.
I'm not saying that, but we could look at, there's all kinds of different things that look like it could be unified in one place in the county.
And I'm not gonna run down the idea of Canada. I mean, that's what you would think about for your schools. I would think, you know,
Oh, yeah.
but then you get Ate Alive if you bring that up.
40 years.
But
Yeah.
the problem with the excellent service is most of our nursing homes are all located within cities. Most of our transport all comes from nursing homes. So by taking it out of a city, you're actually creating more time delay to handle the most vulnerable.
Jeremy, I do take issue with that because transports are not emergencies. You can put them in your schedule. What's an emergency is somebody up in Lincolnville or so that's got run over by a tractor, or somebody down in that corner over there that was in a car wreck. You need to get there, and you need to be on that highway, and you can put that transport 2 hours later, and it's still a very good service.
Then I would ask for the facts on where are the accidents? Where do the accidents tend to most likely?
Well, I think you're splitting hairs there,
No,
because Lord
because
knows
if
where an accident's gonna
If you
happen.
wanna bring down the facts, let's talk about the facts. So then that's where the areas we should be targeting.
We're getting off track here.
Right. We were talking about a lot. Can we get a legal on a lot?
Yeah, that's what I'm in favor for. We need to get a legal on a lot so we can put a rendition together so that we can start looking at some costs. That's bottom line to me, for me.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Travis. Hey, one thing that we did talk about, looking at Ben's ideas for their station, we have put in for 40 by 80 by 14. They wanted 16-foot sidewalls, and they want their building 50 foot deeper.
Total 50 feet.
Tied onto it someday.
Total 50 feet deep.
Total of 50 feet.
Correct, they want 50 feet deep.
Yeah.
Because it's 40 by 80.
Yeah, the standard.
The price I got for 40 by 80 by 14 is $402,000. You said you could get it for $300,000.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
I guess the question is, if I still wanted a 40 by 80, or due to budget reasons, I need to go smaller. Can we leave a drive between them and us? I guess my problem with the lease is not just the lease on the piece of ground. It's how tall my building is, it's how wide my building is. There's a lot more to it than just, here's your piece of ground to build your building on.
Well, we need to get all the information, then we can decide.
What, Ben?
Those things are negotiable, you know, those are suggestions as to how the building can go together, you know.
Sure, no, Ben, and you and I work together fine on that, and I'm not discrediting it. But when that is what's hanging the legal up, is my understanding, is the description of the building. So if you send out a lease agreement that says my building will be this tall by this deep by this wide, then if you send that out, then it's not negotiable if it's on a lease agreement.
Sure.
We could do this back and forth for a month.
Well, we need to see.
But if the constant roof line and the constant back wall is going to derail the whole project, then that's worth reconsidering. You know, I mean, we're not trying to build a Taj Mahal. We're trying to require you to build a Taj Mahal. We're trying to cooperate with the EMS and benefit both of us. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. It still goes back to what Dave and Kent both have said. We just need the lease in front of us so we can see, you know, because right now well, the lease might come out like this, and the lease might come out like that. We just need it in front of us so we can review the document.
We'd like recommendations of what you are going to build your center like, so we could copy it. And if we don't like it, we can come back to the table and we can negotiate.
Yeah, we just got to get.
We got to get started somewhere. We need to get the first base. Throw us a pitch.
Curveball.
No curveballs.
Okay.
I want to strike.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say here that, you know, Penn and Travis have been working well together. We've passed that information on to Josh to work with Brad so that you've got something to work with. It's been clear from our point of view. We've done survey on the property. We've identified where the ambulance facility is going to go. We provided Travis a photometric rendition of the property that, you know, related to the survey. You know, so we feel like we've been pushing this thing along quite nicely. I think that the way that the comments that have been shared at the front part of this part of the meeting are a little off base, because your staff and our staff have been working on this thing together, moving in the right direction, so that we can have a facility that you're proud of, that we're proud of, that is no, I'm going to say, no GD Taj Mahal, because we find that term offensive in Hillsborough. We don't do those kinds of projects over here. But, you know, needless to say, we are moving in the right direction, and I think that our point of view is that, you know, there are things that both of our city and our county have to on part of how we're dealing with this thing. That's in the hands of our lawyer to get a document to you that you can begin to work from. And I don't think that you know that we're dragging our feet in this thing. We're pushing this thing as quickly as we can. Thank you.
And thank you, Larry. I think that's what needed to be said. I think there's been some time has went by and nobody's heard anything, and so really I think we just needed reassurance that it is moving forward. It'd be nice to get the legal so we could review it, but it helps me out just hearing you say that it is moving forward.
That's the first thing we've heard.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate that.
Thank you, guys.
I don't know that anybody else have any as it pertains to this issue.
So I just want to ask one question, and that is, after we do this, and like Randy says, 30, 40 years down the road, let's just say 10 years down the road, this thing is all done over there and built, and we finance a portion of it and so on, and Peabody needs an ambulance, and we're going to be back doing square one again, spending more money on an ambulance building and all that other stuff, because we have one here, and one here, and then this part of the county is neglected. We're not getting the same service as the others. I guess I'm finding fault with the planning here. How are we planning this?
I'd like to add to that, Diane.
Go ahead.
I think you're correct, because all of us sitting here have taxpayers. My whole district almost is south. It was before the split of 5.
Right.
Your whole district was north almost, except Marion. You had Marion. You still have some Marion. We've got those people up there paying the same. Those people down there paying the same.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 2 ambulances within 10 miles.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And is that correct?
No.
It's correct for what you say the size of the city is. But in today's world, an ambulance can make it either way within a matter of minutes. And so, but when those people down there call, or those people up there call, or those people over there in your area now, my old area, they know it's going to be 20 to 30 minutes. What do you expect when you call? 20 to 30 minutes. That's what you've told me before.
Well, I'm not planning on waiting for one unless I'm critically hurt and need to be mobilized first before transport.
But yet you pay the same tax as the rest of us do for ambulance service. So we've got to think about that a little bit too.
We do, that's my point, exactly. You gotta serve everybody the same.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that we need to serve everybody the same. I think that
I think Peabody would be very happy right now if they even had what we have over in Hillsborough. If they had what we have in Peabody, I think those people would be grateful. The same way with some other, if we could provide little.
They're making their own changes.
we don't have anything in Hillsborough.
Yeah, I know we don't. That's what I'm saying. If Hillsborough had that, they would be grateful. They wouldn't.
Well, Hillsborough is grateful. They're willing to have us just stay where we are. Honestly.
I haven't heard that, but.
Well, Larry, could you attest to that? Would you guys prefer to see the ambulances just stay where they are?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, we were having another discussion here. Your question was?
Is it Hillsborough, would they prefer to have the ambulances just stay right where they are?
You know, it takes 20 seconds to walk from the apartment that they're in now to where the ambulance is currently located in our fire department. If they continue to stay there permanently, I don't think we would have a problem with that. But we are intending to have a public safety center that would include a new fire department and probably a police department in a building in that 5-year time frame that I told you about a couple of months ago.
Right.
And it makes perfect sense to you and to us for the facility to be adjoining one another. Because your people need to train with our people. And as you or somebody said a few minutes ago, you know, ambulance crew will be interacting with police department, fire department on a scene. And they need to know how to talk to one another. They need to know one another so that they can be working efficiently. Wherever you put them is immaterial. But we think that it's appropriate that in the long run, they're all together so that training can occur with all of those different professional public safety employees. And so from that standpoint, you know, I think that's an important thing. Now, I don't think that having a station in Canada is practical for serving Hillsborough or Marion. And this primarily because of the, you know, my many years in this business, you know, knowing that response times to help patients is critical. Putting somebody, you know, away from where the metropolitan, where the urban centers of our county are, is and would be more irresponsible and more of a problem related to, you know, financial management than, you know, having a station in Marion, a station in Hillsborough, a station in Peabody, a station in Lincolnville, wherever that northern one is. You know, the response times for, and this is the part that you all need to remember, that these people are your citizens, and they're expecting you to make a decision related to times in that regard. You know, if you move an ambulance miles and miles away, You're creating a problem for somebody that's gonna have a stroke. You're creating a problem that's gonna have a heart attack. You know, and it should not be me that's telling you that. Travis should be screaming like his loudest, you know, from his lungs as full as he can to tell you that is an irresponsible way of trying to plan. Fire station locations and ambulance locations are gotta be where the people are. You know, and so you gotta pay attention to that. And we are moving in that direction, and I really, you know, I'm recognizing that I'm upset. Because this is the reason that we're trying to collaborate to make sure that your citizens, our citizens, all of our citizens are treated and completely served for the medical and emergency services that we've got. Don't ever think of moving something out into the middle of the county, because that's going to be the worst thing that you'll ever do. Thank you.
Johnny, can I touch on that?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. A couple things. One, I've been approached by a couple different people about the Canada idea. When I talk to my peers that are running services in other parts of the state, there are systems that are set up with stations in the rural area. And some people, it's about 50-50. Whether people think that works. One of my closest peers says your most populated area, the way you're set up, makes the most sense. I'm not an expert per se. I spent 15 years at the same service and know how we were spread out based on call volume. So, yeah, I don't necessarily agree with moving them out. I'm sorry, Diane, but somebody would burn my house down, and I would be run out of town. So, with that being said, I also am not a fan of spending more money than I have to. That's why I presented what I could within my budget, being financially responsible. The person in Burns, Kansas on a fixed income shouldn't be paying for a $400,000 building in Hillsborough. As far as if we can do something that's financially responsible, I think that's part of my job, is to remain financially responsible for my budget while providing the best service I can. And you'll see in the budget session coming up, and I've spoken to a couple of you that have asked about it, is how I plan to do that with ALS response to outlying communities. Sorry, I'm kind of sorry. I'm just getting where. Yeah. So, again, my thing is being financially responsible, getting the best we can for our dollars. And now, as far as the 22nd, I don't perceive paying it where we are. One, we're paying rent. Two, it takes 1.95 minutes for my ambulance to get out of the door at Marion. It takes 3.08 minutes for it to get out the door in Hillsborough. I have the numbers. I don't know where Mr. Payne got them from. I suppose he walked. It's not hard to do. But those are the numbers of my system, how long it takes to get there and get the ambulance wheels turning. Hence the reason I think we need to build it in Hillsborough. That's all.
Thanks for your input, Travis.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still on that. I'd like to see the lease.
Well, it's gotta happen. I mean, it has to happen. No BS behind it.
Yeah.
Just get us a lease.
Straight legals. Let us look it over.
Yeah.
We'll be waiting on the lease then.
Put a flag up there where the sponsor will see it.
I can take you right out there. I just don't have any legal, that says it's right here, but
Well, we all
I've been
know
told
we all know
it's
where
right here.
It's just, you know.
Yeah,
I don't have any idea.
it's lawyer speak. For me, it's like you.
What's
Put
that
the 4 flags in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your paint can and paint on the lines off.
Alright.
Get my legal
Okay.
pad, I'm a visual person.
Yes. Show a picture of it, I think. Alright, with that, I think, is everybody all right hearing that the lease is coming?
Yes.
I am.
The majority rules.
Okay, so with that, I thank you, Larry and Ben and Dale, for sitting through it. Hopefully it didn't scare Matt too bad. He's the new city administrator.
He's still smiling, so that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, all right, very good. Thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jonah. Thank you. Thanks.
So our work session is, Mike?
Motion adjourned.
I don't think we need to, it's just a work session.
Y'all have a good day.
So I say something now?
Yeah, it's in the public, I guess.
I'd just like everybody to consider what we do at Hillsborough, whether we house the emergency management trailers, emergency tower, and that large truck in the same facility for the future, regardless of what we do. And the last would be to consider the commercial building at the fairgrounds that we already have. It's not being utilized at all, make that the building and the spot.
Think of what?
Commercial building.
Make it the ambulance station and house the trailers.
That they use it for the county fair and stuff?
It's used less than 3 days, 3 times a year. It's not.
If you wanna see the white's sitting right out here. It's been sitting out here for about 2 weeks. Sitting out here in the
I don't
sun.
even want to put new on rooms and that. I mean,
Well, it's a storage building, yeah.
It's just a big open building.
That's exactly what he's talking about, it's a storage building.